Hello, folks. Welcome to Nate Land. Got a little special one here for you. This is a special episode we're going to put out. Thank you to our good friends at Viore for sponsoring this episode of Nate Land. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at Viore.com/Nate. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but you will enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75. Also, if you want to give a truly meaningful gift, you have to go try paintyourlife.com. Talk about just such an awesome kind of thing. You get 20% off your painting and free shipping. Text the word Nate to 64-000. 64,000. That is text Nate to 64,000 for 20% off and free shipping. Finally, fall is a time for change, and aren't we all working towards a better version of ourselves? It is the perfect time to focus on your mental health goals with Talkspace. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com and get $100 off your free first month with promo code Nate. You can see that I'm on a bus. We had to do it, send this in. So thank you, everybody. Listen to this. We love you. So I'm here with Brian Bates. Aaron Weber not here. Hates the Seinfeld TV show.
Yep.
And so we got a new person in that's a big fan of the Seinfeld TV show, Mark Norman.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
There he is, in person.
I look like Aaron's after photo.
Yeah. You do. Like, that's what he wants to get to.
I'm his goal weight.
Yeah, he's like, God, if I could just get down to that, I'd go, no one could stop me then.
Don't do it, Aaron.
Yeah, stay where you're at. He's lost a lot of weight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's lost, a ton of weight, actually. But, he still has another amount of weight to lose. And... No, he's
on the road.
He's on the Aaron. Yeah, that's why. That'd be great. We should have said it. I wasn't thinking that, but it would be great. So I told Aaron no. I said I brought in Mark Norman, and Mark Norman, if he moves to Nashville, you're out, Aaron.
Yeah.
No, it's he's on the road, and this was very kind of last minute, quick. You're in town. You're at Zany's this weekend, which you would have already played there. About 10 people heard this. All sold out. Added a show. You're starting it up, dude.
Pretty shocking. I can't believe it. I feel good.
You started selling some are you starting to sell more weekends out? And it's clicking.
It's clicking, but there's some weird markets where you go, oh boy, Indianapolis, they really hate me here.
No, you got to go to those.
I do it.
They're all, I know you do it. Like me and you were very similar in, when we were both in New York. We were the ones that did a ton of spots.
Yes.
We did, it would not, like we couldn't stop.
Couldn't stop. Every kind of room, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, club, bar, show.
No days off.
No days off. Who needs it? What else are we doing? We would just...
That's what's so great when you first came to New York and I was there. When did you start comedy?
07, 06.
Yeah. So when did you move to New York?
Late 07.
Yeah. So I was there like 3 years at that point. But it's funny, New York, 3 years, you might as well be there 10.
Yeah.
Like it's just so much. And I remember when you moved there and why we got along was because of that. Because it was like, I was doing the spots. I left in 2012. And then it was like, then you were like, you just were like, I was like, yeah, dude, you do everything.
Yeah.
That's what I did. No days off.
No, you got to be a psycho. I missed a ton of weddings, a ton of holidays. Your parents hate you. I know. Sometimes you pay to go on.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it again. Like, do you ever think back? Like, I don't, just the eating pizza every night, the drinking, the day jobs, brutal.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to, I always think that funnest time of my life.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to go back.
Couldn't do it.
And I think people do that with college.
That would break you. You couldn't do it.
Oh, I was on my honeymoon in Amsterdam. and he was like, Norman's there with Bert Kreischer. And I'm like, I cannot hang with them. I'm not running my honey. No.
Yeah, on his honey, I was like, how do you not go? Yeah. You got to go see him.
Well, was it like, I didn't mind to see him. Yeah. I couldn't hang with you for one night. I would ruin my wedding before we got home.
That's true.
Yeah. She would stay.
Yeah.
It's like, but you do it. I'm trying to think. I don't think I did comedy money. Like a year ago,
if you go to something, you're like, I mean, I'd go visit my mother-in-law with Laura, and I remember going to Huntsville and doing shows. I'd be like, I'm gonna go out and do a show tonight. Like, you just find a show.
Yeah, the ladies hate that.
Yeah,
Oof.
not fans.
A couple of years ago, I went to Zany's on a Wednesday night to see you. It's half full. And then this weekend, I'm like, hey, can I come see Norman? They're like, Saturday at 4. It's the only chance you can.
I'll get you.
Everything else is sold out.
I got you.
Yeah,
That's what
at the 4 o'clock show.
Yeah.
You have to do that now. Like, you have to sometimes go. Either like if people want, they're like, oh, we want to come like Saturday early show. Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah.
That's a little tough.
Exactly.
And you got to throw. I have one show that's like, I just been like, look, that one's gonna be a little. It's like you got to get your people in. Like when I do Nashville, it's like I get, it's like family.
Yep.
Wife's family. Like it's all our family. And my old friends, and then the other ones that I know that are my friends now. You're like, y'all got to go on this other day.
The off peak.
You can't be there that day.
No. And also, I don't know about you, but I hate family and friends in the audience. I want the strangers.
Oh, I don't let them sit up front.
There you go.
I always tell people they like, if I'm giving them tickets and they're on my guest list and they're like, oh, is it gonna be good seats? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You should buy them if you want better seats. You're not going to be up front.
No.
You can't.
No.
If you're looking at someone that knows you. And so you just think they see through. They don't. I don't think they think that, but it's hard. You think they see through you because they're like, you're like, that's not, or something. They might be like, yeah, it's like, we're not all like that. Or I don't know. It's just hard.
It's hard. It makes you feel vulnerable and less authentic.
Yeah. My buddy, Michael Clay, who I started comedy with, I remember I came out to Zany's once, and it was like when it was like kind of packed. It was like starting to, I don't know I don't know if maybe it was one night or something. I don't know, but it was maybe sold out that night. And then so I got him tickets, and I walked on stage, and he's front row right there, and they put him there. And I mean, my first move on stage, the door opens, and I just go, I just look at him. I'm like, why would you?
And he thinks he's being a great friend. Look at me.
Look, I love front. Yeah.
No,
he knew because we started comedy, and I go like that, and he goes, I'm sorry. Like they just put him there, and he like, what's he going to? He's not going to yell at someone for putting him there. It's where you learn that you're like, oh, I got to make sure I tell them,
right?
Like, hey, if I have someone, they can't be in my sight line.
Yeah, if you're a friend or family, if you want to go see a show, go secretly. Then you'll see the real show.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're gonna change it up because we see you.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. You could just not say anything.
Yeah. But then you get off stage and you go, my aunt was here?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no. Yeah, I went hard.
I talked about my uncle for half an hour.
Yeah. You got off and go, I got a new 30 minutes about my uncle. And you're like, well, your aunt was here. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have tried it tonight.
I do shows. I know everyone though. It's all friends and family, so I have to stagger them. Like, my least liked friends and family up front, and then just work them back.
So now these people that listen to this know. Well, I had front row seats to Brian. Like you can go, well, I'm not a fan of you.
Right.
It's the least you see.
Yeah,
it's like you got to get your friends and family. You're like, well, I don't see them a lot, right? And so like they can go closer, and the closer to you, the farther back they go.
Exactly, but. It is perfect for us, and I think we're introverted, weirdo comedians. So if somebody goes, I'm going to come see your show, you go, great, this counts as a hang. Yeah. Because otherwise it would be a nightmare for us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You do a lot of, I hang, it's mostly at my shows.
Yeah.
And I still see, I see more people than most people see. Because you're always going to their town. And then we go hang out. And like my buddy Mitch from high school just came to Charleston. And he came, ate with us, hung out with us backstage, went to the show. We hung out after the show, and then that was it. And it was like, but you get some of it, you just get so busy. You're like, dude, if you want to hang, this is the hang.
This is
like, because I don't, it's like when I'm home, you're like, I'm barely home.
Yeah.
And I still have a family.
Yes.
And so, I had to somewhat, because I can come home and want to golf or something. Or I had this weekend, I had some buddies came over. You're just kind of busy. And then it's like, I was talking to Laura, and I was like, I got to get better at being like, oh, let me just get home with,
Same.
It's not like I don't talk to them, but it's like, it's just, I bring a circus around me.
Of course.
And then your circus kind of comes home, and then you're like, you got to be like, oh, it's all kind of new to me.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I need to be better at being with them.
Yes.
We're going to my daughter's softball game tonight. It's like, well, it's like you go to that, just me, no one else is there. And there's so much of me that's, you're like, hey, you want to go to my daughter's soccer? Because comics just they're like, oh, let's come hang out.
Yeah,
and then comics we're such idiots. We'll be like, yeah, I'll go, dude. I'll go to this kid's softball game. Because we're like, what if we get a joke out of it?
Exactly.
And then they get a fight with the ref.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's their closer.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be open to everything as a comic.
That's true.
Which,
and it's real easy not to.
Yeah.
Real easy to go, no thanks. I'm not going to that
very easy.
Reunion.
And you got to go to stuff that you're not comfortable doing because that's, and you want to be, you got to live. I remember Sinbad said that in a book where he was like, before you get started, you do, it's like he was on a Greyhound bus and he's the funniest comedian in the country. But he's like, but then you start riding in limos and you start doing all this stuff, you get famous and then you can't go do the things that you normally could have done. Well, then your act becomes not as good.
Yeah, of course.
Which Sinbad became very crowd work, which I wonder if that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like almost like, what's he going to talk about in his regular life? He's in movies, he's famous, he can't do this. He's like, well, I'll just be funny and talk to the crowd.
Right.
And then maybe that's a way to adapt.
Oh, yeah.
Never thought about that.
I did a gig at Caroline's. Remember those Caroline's gigs that you'd follow Sinbad or whatever? He would do an hour.
Yeah.
He probably did 3 hours. So he pushed the show that I was on with a bunch of no-name guys. That just canceled because he just took up all the time. And so we kind of showed up like, geez, Sinbad, what are you doing? And he goes, don't worry. And he just told us stories for another 3 hours.
Oh.
So now we had to listen to those.
Yeah. But it was probably a fun.
Great stories.
I think I've talked about it. Did I talk about opening for Paul Mooney on here?
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
Not opening for him, but so Paul Mooney, who just passed away, is like a legendary comic, black comic. And if people don't know him, but he wrote for, look at the camera.
He's black.
He's black, yeah.
Fact check.
Yeah, I just looked into it. Yeah. Confirmed. And so he was like with Eddie Murphy. And this dude's like a legend.
Pryor. The whole
and so he would do these Sunday shows. Remember he would always do like Sunday or something at Caroline's. So his audience would come and he would show up whenever. I know Big J opened for him once. And when he goes up, they go, look, you might do 5 minutes and you might do an hour.
Yeah.
We don't know. And so you just got to go up. And that's hard. Like usually if someone ever tells you, dude, just go up until we light you, we don't know. That's like the worst.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I just need some kind of time frame.
Exactly.
Like, what am I doing? Like, am I trying to just murder for 10 minutes or do I got to do an hour? Well, then I don't want to just be at 20 minutes and be like, well, I've done all my A stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, you need 40 more. And you're like, well, I haven't saved anything.
Exactly.
So it's hard. And
it's not really your crowd. It's his crowd.
It's his crowd. And so one show we're doing it and he doesn't show up. And so they just put us up because they're like, well, we got these people here. We can't have a show. So obvious his crowd is like him.
Yeah.
And they're older too.
Yep.
Like his crowd's older. And I don't think they're not thrilled to be watching just a bunch of white comics.
Sure.
That's what they had to throw up. So we all just go up in front of Paul Mooney's crowd and they're like, what is this? I remember just looking at this old man, and he's just, the whole show is just shaking his head. Like his mindset was like, all right, I'm about to go here, dude, trash white people for an hour. It's going to be amazing. And then he just gets white people shoved in his face more.
Yeah.
And you're like, he hate, like,
Where was this at?
Caroline's.
Yeah.
It was just so funny that you were like, why would you don't put us up there? Like, and they're like, well, what are we going to do? He's not here.
Yeah. And
they're here and you are. And so they told him, some people left and some people were like, I guess I'll stay. And it just wasn't their cup of tea.
I opened for JB Smoove there, and it was right when Curb hit. Everybody loved Curb. He was on Curb, and so it was all Jewish people in the audience, like New York Jews. And he came out to the ba-ba-da, so they're going nuts, like, oh, we're going to see Leon Black. He was filthy. Like Def Comedy Jam. And I remember watching everybody walk out. It was like the exodus of the, let my people go. All just leaving yarmulke after yarmulke. Gone.
Just getting out of there.
Yeah.
That's all you saw.
That's it.
Everybody puts it back on and they leave.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they take it off? Or?
I don't think so.
Yeah. You leave it on, right?
I saw you open for Bruce at Carolina.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. By the way, this is an episode about Seinfeld. I don't know how we got here. Yeah, I opened for Bruce. That was the funniest. He was very nice. Didn't talk to him much. Was like kind of like go in his green room, go in the green room. Caroline's like kind of pay your respects to like a legend and be like, I'm a comic. I'm from the South, and he's like, that's good, man. He's like, good for you. Keep doing it. Like it was very polite.
Yeah. And
then you just kind of walk out of the room. Didn't spend a ton of time with him. Not in a bad way. I mean, he's a dude that travels everywhere. Like that's what some comics
I know
get so mad at headliners. Yeah, not like saying us, but like I even before I was ever headlining, I just remember them being like, he never talked to me. Like, dude, he has to talk to everybody every weekend.
Yeah,
right? Like you think he wants to talk to? You've been doing comedy 6 months.
I know,
and you got to go talk to this guy? Like, no, you don't. It would drive you crazy.
Yeah, they think, oh, we'll bond. He'll take me on the road. Yeah. We'll have this great relationship. Like, come on, this is a gig. He's gone tomorrow.
Yeah, and you will. So just be like, how do I get his gig?
Yeah,
you shouldn't be trying to say, how do I get on the road with that guy? It should be like, well, how do I become that guy?
Ooh.
And that's what you do. And that's the problem. People just look at like, how do I become on the road with that guy? And you're like, well, that can end up being not working out.
Yeah,
and then
point.
then you make it, and then your feelings get hurt because you're got a lot more. You look at it where you're like, I'm not relying anything on this guy.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, it's cool that I get to do this. Mm-hmm. And that's where it lies.
Yeah.
Anything else is bonus.
And just kill this show.
Yep. And so I went up and I go on stage, sold out, and it was good. And then when you bring him up, you like leave the stage.
Yeah.
And so, and they announce it, it's a proper theater, like bringing up, this was at Caroline's. And he goes, so I go, all right, good night. I walk off stage. Mark Theobald was on the show too.
Yeah.
And then, so I think I went up first and Mark went up. Maybe Mark was hosting because he was going to bring Bruce up. Mark was farther along than me as a comic, but I think Mark, it's like that's part of the show is him being up there.
Oh, okay.
And then, so I go up, dude, like whatever. And then they go, all right, everybody's welcome to stage. Bruce. They yell his name. And he's in the green room. And he's not coming. They start playing a song, and he's not coming. And I almost, and thank goodness I didn't, went to him and said, hey, they said your name. Because I didn't think, I'm so new that I think like, I'm used to like, when they say your name, I'm just sprinting to the stage.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so I don't know the theatrics of like what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I always thought I was going to go up to him and go, they said your name. Like, and so luckily some good part of me is going, don't do that.
Yes.
I imagine he knows.
Wow.
It's a sold out show for him. And then he comes out with two like security dudes walking behind him. This song, people are losing it. Funny, the two security dudes are smaller than he is.
Yeah.
And like where you're like, they would do nothing. Like he would have to fight people to make sure they don't get killed. And then he gets on stage and like raps the last part of the song, and then like that's it. It was pretty cool. Like, and so it was like, oh, all right. But it was a fun,
That's a fun thing to see. It's a hell of an experience. And I assume you open for Earthquake at some point.
Yeah.
Someday I hope so.
Yeah.
He's a killer.
He does pretty good with urban African American.
Yeah,
black.
My best videos is all black show.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It's got like 2 million views.
Well, it's fun because you get to be the white guy, the novelty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's that.
Yeah, he's that with us.
Yeah.
I'm like, jeez, Whitey.
Yeah, you're like, good. You're not prepared for it. You're like, all right, let's calm it down. This episode's about Seinfeld television show.
Oh yeah,
that's one of my favorite Curb things when JB Smoove doesn't know Seinfeld.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and he's like, this show's hilarious. Larry David's like, you never watched this show? And he's like, no, I've never seen it.
What is this?
Yeah, what is this? He goes, this is really funny. And he's like, you never seen Seinfeld? He's like, no, never saw it.
Yeah.
Never even heard of it.
Never even heard of it. You know whoever, and not trying to, this will be a name drop because I'm saying it. Who else doesn't know Seinfeld? Lance Armstrong.
What?
So I did his podcast. I've got to know him. He's come to a few shows, and we were talking about it. Because when Seinfeld was on, he was in Europe. Mm-hmm. He was doing
Tour de France.
He was the top of the game. So like he was basically Seinfeld. I mean, at that point, you look at it's Jordan, Seinfeld, Lance Armstrong. Like those are the
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods was like coming right at the end of that. He was like 2000. But it was like all that kind of was like those dudes were the main dudes that anybody talked about.
True.
So he was like gone. So he was in another country. So he's like never watched it.
Makes sense.
All his references when you talk to him are like pre him going to start riding bikes.
Oh, wow.
Like it's like old Eddie Murphy specials are delirious. Like it's the only thing he knows is he'll talk to you, be like, what about this? You're like, yeah, dude, that was the early 80s or late 80s. And he's like, well, then he became Lance Armstrong. So he's like, I was like, he did nothing.
Busy.
I was busy.
Yeah.
And
now he's like, with OJ?
Yeah. He goes, man, what's a great running back, you know? I go, yeah, well, a lot has changed, Lance. Yeah. Don't be a shock to your system, but
yeah.
So, all right, to get started, you have a couple comments. We're only doing a couple because it's a special episode.
Well, and these are brand new. It's not like I've been saving these. This one came yesterday. I would love Mark Norman to come on this podcast, but I'm pretty sure Nate Land would lose a few podcast fans. I mean, talk about other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, not funny.
Yeah, that's
yeah. No, if you listen to Norman, I mean, you're basically. You do get dirty, but you're kind of, I always told you, I was like, you can do a Tonight Show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like you can clean it up, take stuff out. And that's the part of his comic. There's a lot of comics that I think people think they're dirty, but they're the ones that don't always feel dirty, unless you're looking for it.
Yeah.
But they, like you've done a million like late night appearances, so you can't talk about stuff on there.
Yeah.
So you would be one that's like, hey, you're kind of a cleaner act, but you curse and you have some other jokes and stuff like that. But not too far. Like Vecchione was just with us.
Yeah, killer.
And Mike is the same kind of. Mike's basically clean.
Yeah,
and like some of it is like, oh yeah, just be clean, dude. Like,
but the ultimate compliment, you get this a lot, is like, oh, I didn't even realize Nate was clean. Which is the nicest thing you can say.
That's all you want.
Yeah,
that's all you want, because you don't want someone to be like. They're there for that. I mean, some people are there for that. And so you want those people too, but you want other people to not. Because I think there's just a tarnish on clean.
Yeah.
Like it's people think, I'm not watching this. It's like a clean, like it's corny. It's corny. It's not going to be written well and all this stuff. And like, I just have this idea. You're like, no. I always think that's an audience I want to go after, is like to show them like, we can create things that don't have to be dirty. And like, you're just, and no one's doing it. So why don't I just try to do that and go after that? And because then you're gonna get the people that I want people that come to you, come to Tom Segura, come to whoever, tell, and then I want them to come to me. And like I want us to all be like, yeah, we're all the same comics. Whether you want this or that or whatever, these are all great comics.
Yeah,
I'm not saying me. I'm not trying to throw myself in that, but you guys. But you know what I mean. Like you just want to be a great comic.
Yes,
and you want to be no matter what people do.
Oh, sorry.
Here we go. Aaron's gone 1 point. And then, so.
Have you ever had a bit, and I've always wondered this about clean comics, that you go, oh, this is so good, but it's not clean. And you just want to do it.
Maybe one or two. And one of them I talked about, and that's on YouTube, in that article that was written where he talked about it. It was like a joke about like prostitution, like, and I had something like that. It was clean, but it was like on the edgier side. And then I had someone reach out, and I like heard this girl's feelings, and I just hated it. And so I mean, I've never really told that joke again, but it got taped at a comedy club, so it's like it's not my video.
Yeah,
and so it's just up. It's not a bad joke, but it just was like mean spirited. And I didn't like that. I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings. Like no matter who they are, whether they're that or they're in church or they're on the street. Like I don't think I find it fun to be like.
I feel the same way. Some people are like, oh, you say this edgy stuff. Are you trying to get a rise out of people? I'm like, no way. No. I never got those comments. Like I walk half the room. Like why? I want the room to have a good time and laugh.
I think people that do that are not good comics. And so they they're walking the room anyway. And so they're like, well, I'll do better if I just try to walk it on purpose.
Yeah.
And so then I get to be the guy that, oh, you got to go see it, walk the room. And you're almost playing that. You're becoming that niche.
True.
Or, weirdly enough, people could not like to hear this. Larry David kind of like you could argue with his stand-up is he would go up. It's very funny. The stories are very funny. Like, I mean, he went on stage when he first started and would look at the crowd and be like, no, I don't like this crowd, and walk off stage. And you look, and now you're like, that's hilarious, dude. That's so funny to do that. But then you're like, in that moment, you're like, well, he's not good enough to do stand-up.
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to say anything, but it's like not to trash him or something.
No.
Like, obviously he's
hilarious.
Yeah, obviously he's like brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's like in that world, you're like, dude, I mean, your job is to go perform for these people.
Yeah.
Don't do that job. And he did it.
Yeah.
And he did this job. And this was the job that was the one. And then Curb. And like, he's unreal. And now, I think he could, he'd probably do some stand-up now. But like, people get him now. I don't think they got him then.
That's true. And that's part of stand-up is getting the audience to get you immediately. And he was like, I'm not doing that part. I'll go write something.
Rightfully so. Yeah. Go do it.
It's
and
not
then
for
like,
everybody.
yeah. We, but coming up with stuff now, I would say my mind doesn't really go to that.
Mm-hmm.
So you really put yourself in the position to be whatever you write is kind of what you think about. It's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So since I'm not doing any of that stuff, I don't have any sex jokes or any like that kind of stuff. I'm just not looking there for jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, it just doesn't come into my mind. Not saying it never will. I don't know. I don't want to say anything, but it would be very forced.
Yeah.
It would feel forced. And so I just don't. It just doesn't pop in.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because then you have to push it down. If it doesn't pop in anyway, you're golden.
Yeah. It's like, it's always helped you with late nights and stuff like that. You're just like, I just don't think like that. So, not saying it's better or worse or any, but it's like, that's how I think.
I do think writing clean is more skillful because you actually have to find the magic in some scenario or, if you do a joke about tables, it's got to be actually funny. Yeah. Whereas if you throw in the curse word, you can get it kind of more about a sex joke, but you just started with a table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's way harder to go full clean. But I think when you nail a clean joke, it's actually, you found the comedy in it.
Yeah.
Instead of just flipping it over to something.
Well, people are cursing sometimes now. It's like, some of them, you're like, all right, dude, it's too much.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You're like, you can't be, saying these words is like just your in-between words.
Oh, the filler.
And then then it blows for the part where it blows it for when you actually need that word.
Yes.
Because you're just saying it like
willy-nilly.
Like the way I say like you're just, it's like just kind of a brain part where you just go like, oh, I'm just trying to think of something real fast.
Yeah.
I feel like most people think Seinfeld's clean, but he'll have an occasional word in there, but it adds to it.
Yeah.
It's more impactful because it's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Cosby, before Cosby, everybody, the whole thing, but he has a joke where he says the A word and it murders. It gets like a 2-minute laugh because it's so special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See that.
Yeah. You are, as you said, you've always stuck by Cosby's side.
Yeah.
And
yes, I like his later stuff.
Yeah. I didn't like his earlier stuff.
By the way, you can see how terrified I'm trying to act normal in this photo, and I'm freaking out the whole time.
What's going on here?
We did 4 shows at the Beacon, highlight of my life.
Yeah.
This is pre-COVID, obviously, and after the 4 shows, he likes to do a thing where he goes, I rented out this Italian joint, great pizza, and then we had tiramisu after and a couple of glasses of wine and just talk comedy and trash people. And I walked home on cloud 9 that night, just clicking my heels all the way from Midtown.
Yeah. I mean, when I remember when he mentioned you on the Mets game.
Yeah.
So they had, or do you have all this stuff?
I have that.
Yeah.
You want me to play it?
Yeah.
Oh,
so this is a big one.
I'm going to get misty.
Yeah.
I want to know who is the best young up-and-coming comic that we should keep our eyes on.
He already hates it. He's like, here we go.
There's a young guy out there named Mark Norman who has not broken yet, but I have met and I've talked to, and the guys I look for are the hardcore crazy guys.
Crazy guys.
Talk to them about Buddy Hackett. They know what I'm talking about. Or Rickles, or they know the history, they know Klein, they know the heritage of the profession. And Mark Norman is one of those guys, so I like him. Keep an eye out for him. Thanks.
I mean, I remember I texted you that night, and you were obviously getting blown up.
Yeah.
Because it was like everybody saw it.
Mm-hmm.
We were losing our mind.
Yes.
Yeah, like how quickly did you know it?
I was bombing in Buffalo. It was July 4th weekend, so the club was empty.
Yeah.
I had like 12 people there, bombing, sweating. I get off stage after the first Friday show, and then you have a minute before you have to do the second show. And I'm in the green room like, woo! And my phone is like a pinball machine. And I was like, huh? And like, Seinfeld's talking about, yeah. And I just clicked one of the links and I couldn't believe it. I sent it to my parents. They actually cared about it for the first time. And it's great because you can't take that away from me.
Right.
You know, you can ruin my life or kill me or whatever, but I have that on video forever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, and as all three of us are in this boat, that's our guy.
Yes.
That's our, we love that guy.
Legend.
And
I bet you were so grateful for whoever took that photo.
I was, yeah.
Proving that you had that night.
who took it?
He's got a bodyguard kind of right hand
and he took
man.
it for you.
He totally did. He was like, here you go. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Because obviously you want it the whole time, but you don't want to be like, hey, can somebody get this?
Yeah.
Be that guy.
That's so good, man, to have people like that's with him that understand how, they like you.
Yes.
And so then they go, he wants this.
Exactly.
I had my old manager, Abby Robertson. Grab that.
Yeah.
She took this one, and I'm always grateful for that she took this. And I don't know if you can see it, but it was this was I've posted it before, but it's
wow.
It's with Fallon and Leno.
Look how young you are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Man.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
that's fat
so
hungover,
2 weeks
Nate.
ago. Yeah. Those were the bad days. But it's so she took this picture, and that was a situation where all this was happening, and you're like, well, if I'm lucky, I can get a picture on stage. But this picture is more important than the one that's on stage.
Wow.
And I'm always grateful that Abby took that picture because it was Abby Robertson.
That's huge.
Because it was it was enormous. It was just such a good, that was such a crazy experience. Because when you're around those guys, I've now talked to Leno. He'll call me. He just calls you, and then me and him will talk a little bit. And I'm always great. You're always I can't believe I'm talking to you. It's you're this is. You just feel you're dude, you shouldn't be talking to me.
I know.
That's but.
You want to give them money or something.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you for doing this.
What's your charity? I'll do whatever you want.
So Make-A-Wish for us.
It's such a cool thing. Seinfeld is the one that I haven't met.
How annoyed were you when you saw that video? Come on.
I mean, it's
he
free.
called me.
2 hours. I got to. Mark Norman's nothing in this business. Seinfeld even said it. He said, "Here's a guy that's terrible.
He hasn't broken."
Yeah. I go, he's bombing in Buffalo right now. I'm here. I flew to Buffalo to make sure he was bombing still. No, I was happy for you. I would be very, very jealous. I mean, obviously, I want to meet him, but I've been very jealous for anybody else. But you're just for you and how you're like us, and you're a big, big, big fan. That you're I'm happy. You're a good person. You want good people to get this, and you're a great comic, and so you were man. And it's crazy because then you're that's such a big deal that I can't believe that I was able to talk to you about it.
Wow.
You're golly, dude. Seinfeld's the dude. Being starstruck, it's less and less. I don't get it that much anymore. But him, I would be able to talk to him. But it's that's all I want. I want to I'm trying to open. I told my manager we're gonna try to call him. If Seinfeld watches this, I'll open for you any town you want me to come to.
He is a fan. I know he likes you.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I don't even know.
I've heard that. I've heard him say it. There's a guy named Pergazzi, a little dirty, but
a little too dirty for my taste.
Yeah. But he's one of us too. You watch him on Comedians in Cars. He's got a Jerry Lewis episode, and he's an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Mr. Lewis. I love you. I'm a huge fan. Can I ask you about this? And you're that's just what we do to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just keeps passing down.
Yeah. I want to, I just want to go out. I want to go out with him. I want to go do this. I just want to talk comedy. I don't even care if I open for him. I just want to be able to go sit and talk comedy with him.
I opened for Ryan Hamilton one weekend, and I picked his brain the whole weekend, just what it's like opening for him on the road.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's just an honor to know someone like yourself. That's met him.
It's like the 50s. You met Babe Ruth.
Yeah. You talk to him too, all the time? Or
I mean, we'll text every now. It's getting less and less because of COVID, and then you just never see him anymore, and comedy got weird. So it's less and less, but we text about Norm.
Yeah.
And that was nice.
What's his number?
Let's go ahead and just pass that along.
Sure.
Hey, Jerry, it's Nate Bargatze. Norman gave, I'm sure you're cool with it.
Yeah.
They, I imagine that, but it's nice to be able to have that. I do I had it with Chris Rock because I opened for him, and I just did the DAR in DC, and that's where they taped Delirious and Robin Williams special, and they did Chris Rock special there, and a bunch more. I think Mulaney might have shot something there, and then so I texted him that there's a picture. They got a picture of his special up on the wall, and he's like, he goes, well, the main one was Delirious, and that's still kind of crazy to be like, dude, I can't believe I'm talking to this dude.
Yep,
I'm taking a picture of his face from a special that he did. And then he's like, yeah, Eddie Murphy's the important one. And you're like, just the fact that you're able to talk to a guy that has seen all that stuff, you're like, this is crazy, dude.
Well, that's the cool thing about stand-up is we don't have as much pretension. Like if you're a low-level guitar guy, you're never going to hang out with Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
But we get to hang out with these guys because we're all just comics.
Yeah.
They have these big levels of, I'm a superstar. Comic.
They want this.
Yes.
They want this hang. When Foxworthy was with us, it was like, I think Foxworthy would come on the bus with me.
Wow.
And like just hang, like Foxworthy, they're at a point where like career stuff is like, they've done everything. They like doing comedy. So they like making jokes and stuff, but it's like, they're at the top.
Yeah.
And so now what they don't get anymore is that.
Yes.
Is you and him sitting at a table talking comedy. And that's all any of us want.
I know.
And so
the hang.
They like the hang.
Yeah.
And like, so we had, like when we were at Foxworthy, I mean, we were just he's like the nicest dude. I mean, he's another one that's like, I can't believe I'm talking to him.
I had his cassette growing up.
Yeah.
It blew my mind.
It's crazy. And then we're sitting there talking comedy and he's telling me these stories and like, just the names he's saying, you're like, is that guy alive? Like, but it's like the most famous people ever. He's not doing it in a bragging way. It's like, that's the life that he's kind of doing.
Yeah.
And like, so it's just kind of a crazy life, but he loves talking comedy. It was fun to like, hear stuff that you're like, well, he would never say some of this out loud. And you're like, but he's trust you. And you're like, oh, wow. You're like, this is great. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And those guys had to, like Foxworthy had to come up when comedy's big now. It's accepted. It's on Netflix. People saw it at the Garden all the time. Comedy was like very niche, underground. I think to come up in the 80s like that and then the 90s, that's impressive to me.
I want to talk to him about his New York days.
Yeah.
Like what they did at the beginning. I've always wanted to know that. Because it's like, what are they getting paid?
Yep. Where are they living?
Where were they living? Where you have to take cabs? You take subways?
Exactly.
Like, were you able to make money? Like, how did it?
How'd you do the road without a GPS?
Yeah, when did you start doing the road? Were you doing
Yes.
clubs? Like, because you don't know. Like, Eddie Murphy was always someone that you're like, you just figured he was famous immediately. And then, talking to Chris Rock, you're like, no, we would go to Stress Factory and he'd go up there and do something. And you're like, what? Like, and he was like running his act and you're like, oh. So, like, he's a phenom, but then you're like, but there was work.
You still got to work it out. And you think with him that you're just like, oh, I thought he just like was like, oh, you want me to do a special? Then he was like, he just went and did it. Yeah.
And like even doing comedy, you're like, I can see how hard it is, but it's he's 22. That special is legendary.
Unbelievable.
That you're going, maybe he is that good. Like I don't know.
He's just got a gift. He's got it. He's one in a million.
Yeah, that's like with Cosby, which we keep referring. This is old Cosby. We're talking old comics. One of Norman's heroes.
Later stuff.
Yeah. But like, where did he go run? Did he ever run stuff? I think he just did it on the road. Like you just have to do the road and you just.
Well, like in Comedian, when Seinfeld says Cosby, or Chris Rock says he did 2.5 hours without a break or something like that. Maybe longer than that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's probably that.
It's a good point.
Yeah. It's kind of Chappelle-ish. And then, it's fun. You want to come here?
Hey.
This is the special episode, but this is our daughter, Harper. That's Mark.
Harper.
She hasn't met Mark. We're just talking Seinfeld. She just got home from school. She got a softball game tonight. The Nightmares.
Oh.
Look, that's the name of the team name.
That's scary.
So we're hoping to win. All right.
Good team name.
I love you.
I was a bedwetter, so I get it.
Yeah.
We ordered a painting that I thought of from using two different pictures of Harper and her favorite horse, Flame. It was way easier than I thought it was going to be. We just uploaded the two pictures and told them in the online order on the online form how we wanted it together. And seriously, like a few days later, we had a proof and it was perfect on the first try. Harper loved it. It was awesome. It's a picture of Harper and a horse, her favorite horse, Flame, and they're looking at each other. And it's a real painting. Harper loved it. It's hung up now. If you're looking for a special gift for someone this holiday season, something truly unique and personal, we've got a great idea for you at paintyourlife.com. You can have an original painting by a world-class artist done by hand from any photo at an affordable price. Get a professional hand-painted portrait created from any photo at a truly affordable price. Send any picture, yourself, children, family, special place, cherished pet, or combine photos with one painting. You can order a custom-made hand-painted portrait in less than 5 minutes. Quick and easy process. Get a hand-printed portrait in about 3 weeks at paintyourlife.com. There is no risk. If you don't love the final painting, your money is refunded, guaranteed. But you're going to love it because we loved ours. Is unbelievable. Harper and Flame. And right now, as a limited time offer, get 20% off your painting. That is right, 20% off and free shipping. To get this special offer, text the word Nate to 64-000. That's Nate, 64-000. Text Nate to 64-000. Paint your life. Celebrate the moments that matter the most. We all talk to our friends when we're going through things, but they do not always give the advice we need because they just don't know how. Getting feedback and advice from a licensed professional can be way more helpful. Facing obstacles is not easy, and you do not win a prize for doing it alone. Over 50% of Americans struggle with their mental health. We all need help sometimes, and asking for support when you need it is actually a sign of strength. It will make you better. Don't just sit and be miserable. You can get help. If you're looking to talk to someone, you're going to love Talkspace. They make it so easy to match with a licensed therapist and schedule live video sessions, all from the comfort of your device. You can start messaging your therapist the same day you sign up. At Talkspace, your privacy and security are the #1 priority. The app puts you in a private room with just you and your therapist. Send messages 24/7 and get replies throughout the day. No need to wait for a weekly appointment. Talkspace encryption and added security features keep your conversations fully protected. Talkspace therapists are experts in dozens of specialties, including anxiety, depression, relationships, and more, to help you start feeling better. So go get help. Go talk. Don't be miserable. I mean, it's a good thing. Join Talkspace today and start moving forward with a single message. Just visit Talkspace.com and get $100 off your first month when you use promo code Nate at sign up. That is $100 off at Talkspace.com. Promo code Nate.
So let's talk a little bit about Seinfeld.
All right.
Yeah. I just rewatched the pilot episode. I think the first 2 seasons, maybe the first 3, are the ones I know the least best.
Those aren't the best.
What do you tell someone if they're going back to watch it? If they want to, the only thing I would say to watch the first 2, and it's not like they're bad. It's just they're shot very old.
Yeah.
And it's always just a little different. I would say, look, it's not bad to watch the first 2 just so you can get these characters, and I think you enjoy the rest of it more because you really know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
If someone is I kind of know them and stuff, I'm always start at 3, season 3.
Agreed.
Just start there and go.
3 to 7 is the best. That's the good stuff.
Yeah,
I think, but I'll argue some. We can argue some 8 and 9. Let's
argue.
Yeah.
No Larry David. It got wacky.
I read an article where Michael Richards said at first he did Kramer's character as a little dumb and stepped behind everyone, and then he's flipped it where he's like, no, I'm a little bit ahead of you in a weird way. And that's when everything changed, I think, for that character.
It's funny for a dumb guy to think he's smart.
Yeah.
That's comedy.
How much you want to work with that guy? Larry Charles is his name, right?
Yeah.
You see him on something, I'm every time I talk about a TV show, I'm like, will he do it? I just want him to do it. And it's he's doing so much of this stuff. You're like, I just want to work with him.
Yeah. He's doing Borat and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's ridiculous. Busy. Looks like a guy that wouldn't have created Seinfeld.
Yes.
He looks like a guy that you would be like, you think that guy watched it? And you would be like, no.
Yeah, he looks like a guy that Larry David would hate.
Yeah.
But they're tight.
Isn't he the one that comes out of the bathroom on the airplane when Elaine?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
He looks like ZZ Top or something.
Yeah.
I just watched the pilot. Kramer was called Kessler.
Yep.
Oh, in the pilot.
In the pilot, because the real Kenny Kramer wouldn't allow them to use his name.
Yeah. That's where stuff makes the best comedy. When you use a real person, everybody gets on board with that because they're everybody's like, oh, you know what? He's like if if you're creating someone that's just a full blown character that's like doesn't exist, then we're just watching. But if you're like, oh, that was my real neighbor, you're like, oh, you know what? I knew a guy that was kind of like that.
Yes.
And then like people are more invested because they just think of someone that they know.
Completely. Yeah, I remember. What's the guy who did Raymond?
Phil Rosenthal?
Rosenthal. He said he tried to write the script and it wasn't going anywhere. He's like, I'm just going to write about my family. And then it took off.
Oh, yeah. He's done, he came up with so much stuff. And like, I mean, that whole series, I mean, that show is, I always say that Everybody Loves Raymond. It's like, I know it's an amazing show. I was at an age when that show came out that I was probably 20 or 19, or I was doing comedy. Like it was a lot. No, 2001 maybe when it came out. And then, so it was like, I was like about to start comedy. I was just at an age where I like wasn't watching TV like that. And I'll go back and watch it now and I'm like, oh, this is unreal.
Yeah. It's
how
great.
good this show is. And it's almost one I need to go back through all completely.
Yeah.
But it's like, I just kind of like, I remember my parents watching all the time. And he was like talking about a lot of his marriage and stuff. And you're like, I just, you're at that point, you're not married. And I'm starting comedy. But now when I go back and watch it, I'm like, oh, I used to want to go pitch shows. And I'd be like, let's just pitch them Everybody Loves Raymond. And we're changing names. Because I always thought if you pitch a show, I'll just say the exact pitch of Everybody Loves Raymond. And I won't say his name. Because that's what they want.
Of course.
And you go like, you want to go like, I'll make that for you. You want that? There you go. You like that? I'll make that for you. Because that's essentially what you're making anyway.
Yep.
But it's going to be me in it.
Yeah. And probably the last one of those, he did Letterman. Letterman liked him, gave him a sitcom, killed it. Has that happened? I mean, it was like Seinfeld, Roseanne, Ellen had a sitcom, Ray Romano,
Kevin James,
Tim Allen. But that might have been the last big one.
They're the ones that last. Those are all still on the air.
Yeah.
They're the most watched.
It's true.
And they don't go back to it. And they have, so he did, I had it with Fallon tried to do it, we tried to do it with me. And like that's when my two shows were found, is like he wanted to be Letterman and Ray Romano, the way he looked at it.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. But the problem becomes like when you pitch stuff, they always want multicam. Multicam lasts the longest. I mean, we're still watching. Seinfeld just sold to Netflix.
Yes.
And so they just like, that's how good that show is that it's 25 years later and it's on, and now it's being probably the most watched show. So was Friends.
Yeah.
All those shows. And then you go try to pitch that show now and they're like, nah, I don't think people are watching. You're like, well, they're still watching that one. So I'd imagine if you hang on that they do it, because I think they want the networks, like it's cheaper to shoot this type of show.
Yeah.
A multicam show, which if people are listening, I mean, most know, but I don't know if I would have known before I got into it. But multicam is you're on a set, everything's already built. It's in a studio, like, you have 4 cameras. It's like a play almost. And that's cheaper to do. So they tell you that's what we're looking for. And then when you do it, and I know it from my pilot, and then, maybe ours wasn't good enough. But like you go pitch it to the people and then you let them see it. And then they're like, because they don't watch this show.
I know.
So that person's still a regular person that goes, it just feels old and all this. And they're not thinking about, well, who would watch it? Because the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
I mean, CBS is crushing it with the ratings of them. And they had it. They still did it. But yeah, it was, it's interesting.
It's shocking too, because I mean, let's be honest, a lot of these network suits are kind of cowardly. Like they just keep making the Avengers over and over because they know it works. So you'd think they would go with the TV model that works, but
they don't. And that's where Netflix is kind of moving forward, is like they had, that I haven't watched Squid Games, but
it's huge.
Yeah. I mean, someone said it's the most watched show ever on Netflix. Like
already?
That's what someone said. That's what someone told me. That's going from a buddy. That's not answered from, my buddy Wyatt told me that. It's not like, I don't know if that could be false completely.
I bet it was just number 1 this week.
Yeah.
He clicked on it.
And he clicked it. He goes, maybe the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
Bigger than the Super Bowl. You're like, oh, is it?
Yeah, right.
What's another one?
Well, anyway, they finally paid. They thought Kramer was a funnier name than Kessler, so they paid Kenny Kramer $1,000 for the name.
Yeah,
classic Kramer.
That's classic Kramer.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
George Costanza, of course, was modeled after Larry David. At first, he played him as Woody Allen type, but then he changed to Larry David. But there was a real Jerry's former friend, Michael Costanza, sued Seinfeld and NBC for $100 million, claiming the series violated his privacy. The court sided with the show's creators, But Michael Costanza said, George is bald, I am bald. George is stocky, I am stocky. George and I both went to Queens College with Jerry. George's high school teacher nicknamed him Can't Stand Ya, so did mine. George had a thing about bathrooms and parking spaces, so do I. Seems like he's got a pretty strong case.
Like you said, you got to just go with people you know.
You got to go with people you know, and that's tough. That's what always, like you say, like you put people's real names in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it works out.
Yeah.
And you didn't put his last name Costanza. That's probably the mistake.
Yep.
Is you just give him a different name, and then the guy could never know who it's based off of. He's in an episode, the ice cream truck. He's driving the car, and he goes, "Hey, I got ice cream melting back here. I gotta go." It's some of them fighting for the parking spot. It's the parking spot one where they both one backed in, one pulled in. And he goes, "Y'all got to move it. I got an ice cream truck." That's him.
That's Costanza.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so and then they move the cars out, and then they move them back exactly where they were.
Was that hey, I'll give you a spot in the show if you leave me alone, maybe?
I mean, they might have been still friends at that point. That's hard because, I mean, he's just looking at Jerry's based. I mean, it's tough. It's one of those that look, dude, you couldn't have created a show about you. And then Jerry and Larry David came up with that show about you. He added Kramer, Costanza. It's people in his life. Do you give them money? There's sometimes you just think, do you just throw them some money and be like, yeah, man, I've made so much. Here
you go.
You're a big part of it. Or do you not? It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
You can't use the name. That's the. No. But I mean, Kramer's such a good name. Costanza's such a good name.
I know, it's great.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But it's give them a job on the show. Hire them.
I read an article yesterday. I kind of remember this, that Kathy Griffin's character, first time she's on as Susan's college roommate, in between shoots, she asked Jerry if she could get an autograph for her friend, and he yelled at her and said, "That's the last thing I need to be thinking about right now."
Ooh.
And then she went on her half-hour HBO special and just kind of talked about that and ranted on it. And then he brought her back and did that whole episode about
that's right.
how, and she does the one-woman show and stuff like that.
And trashes
so he kind of made an episode about the trashing and stuff like that.
Mm.
And then the guy who played Ramon, the pool boy, there was another guy originally who was supposed to play him, and they wanted him to do it in a Spanish accent, and he said he refused to do it because he thought it was demeaning.
Yeah.
So they got rid of him. But also in that...
There you go. That worked out.
Yeah.
Oh, is it demeaning? Well, then no.
Yeah. Adios.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he said a lot of mean stuff about Jerry. So they put Kathy Griffin's character calling him the devil and stuff like that. So everything that happened to him, he would just make an episode out of.
That's smart.
It's truth is what, that's why everything feels real.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's crazy, and you just add a little more jokes into it, add a story with it. But go this is all based off something.
Yeah.
And Carol Leifer, is that her name?
Yeah.
A lot of people think Elaine's kind of based off her. She said people hit her up all the time with stories because she was a writer on the show. And most of the time they were terrible. But she had a friend that said, "We had a dinner party the other night, and these people brought a bread to serve at dinner, and I forgot to put it out. And I noticed at the end of the night, they took the bread home." And she pitched that to Larry David, and he's like, "We're putting that in an episode."
There you go.
One of my favorite episodes. I mean, that's such a good episode.
The Marble Rye?
The Marble Rye.
Yeah, great ep.
Yeah.
I've never baited a hook with a rye before.
Yeah.
That's such a great episode.
Yeah.
She also said that Jerry was such a nice guy. They dated at one time, and they stayed friends, but her dad was sick, and he flew her home. Jerry flew her home on a private jet to see her dad, who had dementia. And she visited him, and he was doing better. And then the next day she went back, and she said, "How's he doing?" They said, "The dementia's set back in. He's telling everyone that his daughter visited him yesterday with Jerry Seinfeld on his private jet."
Yeah.
No one believed him. They thought he was going crazy again. So it's a very funny story, but she's just talking about how Jerry was very generous and nice to her.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, look, it's always a tough thing. You always got to look, when you hear a bad story about someone, you always got to think, well, where are they at that time? He's probably the busiest he's ever been in his life, the most stress on him he's ever had in his life. All this stuff. He's got one of his best friends, eventually sues him for $100 million. You get to where you're like, I can't trust anybody, you know? So I'm sure it's, you got to take all that. Then there's times where you're like, yeah, but you got to just be nice to people, dude. It's kind of what comes with the territory. And you got to be just be polite, whether you want to do something or not, and something is inappropriate to ask. I can't imagine it's that inappropriate for Kathy Griffin to ask that. But it's funny that he made an episode about it and brought her back. So it's you make it kind of cool in that way where you're like, oh, you know what? Well, now you get a whole,
I
think, few more episodes. And people know her from Seinfeld now.
Oh, yeah.
Because of that. I don't know if you would have known her the first time. And then the second time, that one, like, the storyline was like, oh, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I got to be better at stuff. Because if she did that to me where she trashed me in a special, I'd be like, ah.
Yeah.
And then I would be like, we're enemies, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But he was mature enough to bring her back and spin it.
Well, he thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And that's what helps is like, you don't take things personally.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not getting offended by something. And you just go like, oh, that's hilarious. You know what? Let's have her back on. And then, I mean, that's better than anything you could give her.
It really is.
Is that. And then you get to make fun of yourself.
Yep.
And, you know, and be like, so he's like good in that way.
Yeah. But I wonder if deep down she was on that next episode and he was like, I dare you to do it again. You know? Because it still sticks with you.
It's still, I bet if she did it again then, he wouldn't do it.
Mm-mm.
He would be like, all right, what do you want me to do? Like,
Yeah.
And then he'd probably just do something, you know, you could write some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He has the show. She doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. The series finale, same night, Frank Sinatra had a heart attack, rushed to the hospital where he later died. But some reports say that the streets were clear. It got to the hospital quicker because everyone was watching the finale of Seinfeld.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Huh.
That's wild.
It's a better story if he'd have survived because of it, but
still died. But they got him there faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
They learned he died quicker than they would have.
Yeah. So crazy to think. I was a freshman in high school when Sinatra died. I still remember it. It's crazy to think he was producing this show. I was in high school in New Orleans. So different trajectories.
And then now you know him.
And now you know him.
Now,
It's crazy.
Seinfeld.
Insane.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
Like, how does it ever get to that?
Life
You
is long.
Life is long. And then you get, it's, I mean, at that point, it's not even a dream to meet him or become friends with him. Like, there's no way.
No way.
And then you got to see. That's what I mean. We were talking a little bit before air. Like, you look at goals, and that's how people got to look at them. You got to, like, you can't just have a goal that seems like you can't be in high school going, I want to be friends with Seinfeld.
No,
like,
no.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
And so you got to wait. And then you see when it opens up, you go, oh, I can be friends with Seinfeld. And then it happens.
Yes.
But you got to wait till the door opens to be like,
Mm-hmm.
there, it's happened, you know?
Yeah.
And then you kind of go from like, you know, and that's just an easier way to accomplish things, I think.
Yeah. Bit by bit. Like,
Don't go too far ahead. Just be like, all right, if you can't go, I mean, I guess someone could think, well, I look at like, how do I become friends with Seinfeld? And then I figure out a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You could do it that way, I guess, if you think like that. I don't. I think like, just let me get to this. I don't even my goal is not even to, I mean, obviously I want to meet Seinfeld and I want to do whatever. I want to open for you. I'll host for you and Norman can middle.
I'll middle.
And then but so I want to like do that. But it's like, I don't think I could ever figure out like how to like, I would just be like, well, I need to just do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will hopefully get to myself to a point that he will know who I am. And then I will be able to somewhat meet him.
Yeah.
And so that would be, he might be doing the stand up for heroes thing.
Ooh.
With Jon Stewart. Is he on that?
He is on that, I think.
No.
I don't think he's listed, is
Yeah.
Burr is on
No,
it.
maybe he's not on it.
I thought
Gaffigan
he was.
is.
Yeah. It's whoever they posted. Oh man.
What's it called?
Stand up for heroes.
I thought that already happened.
No, 2021.
You missed it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Sue's on it.
Is this it?
Yeah.
That's a heck of a lineup.
Come on. How great will this be? Bruce Springsteen's on. I'm like, whatever. No, I'm
I
joking.
know, right?
He's not on it.
Oh,
Oh,
Nicky
you're the
Glaser.
first name.
Well, it's alphabetical order. So
Ah.
that works out, though. Usually you're just not supposed to say that. I mean, Bruce Springsteen and Jon Stewart look like the add-ons. Like
Yeah, right?
Seinfeld's and more.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope Seinfeld's and more.
He might as well pop in. I mean,
Might as well.
lives right there.
Jerry,
Come on.
just pop in. You're there. Say hello.
open mic it.
Come on.
What's the
I'll
deal
leave
with
your
it?
name on the guest list. Come on,
There you
Jerry.
go.
Yeah, there you go.
I got a +1.
I got a +1 he's gonna hang in the back a lot, you know.
Sorry, Laura.
Yeah. So all right.
His first choice to play George was Jake Johansson.
Whoa. Interesting. He's underrated. I
Underrated too.
Yeah.
But he's like they came up, I mean, him and Regan, they
Mhm.
like they came up in that Seinfeld like
feel like.
era.
Yeah, that 80s clean blazer.
I mean, Seinfeld was older than them, but it was like that,
Paul Reiser.
Yeah.
Was another one.
Paul Reiser had a big sitcom too. Another one.
Oh, that's
Mad
right.
About You.
That's right. Great show.
Great show.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who played Elaine's dad was supposed to be more of a recurring character, but he intimidated them so much in real life. They're like, we don't want him back. And he supposedly stole a butcher knife from the set.
I heard that.
There you go.
Yeah, we had a funny guy like you in Korea.
Yeah.
Which maybe the pilot, not the pilot episode, but the one where they make the pilot, where the guy steals the Kramer.
The raisins.
The raisin. Maybe that based it off of that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe they did. That's tough because it's like he was in one episode,
Mm-hmm.
and like so it's like then just to get canned,
I know.
and then you're like, and then they hire better.
Yeah.
Like it's like that's what show business is. Like you got to sometimes be like, yeah, dude. Sometimes Ray Romano got fired from a show or news radio.
Is it? Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
Joe
That's
Rogan
right.
took the spot.
That's right.
And then Ray Romano became what he did. So I mean, there's a moment he's there. That's too when you're an actor. I think the hardest part of being an actor is you're like, yeah, I could be sitting there, and they're gonna be like, nah, this doesn't work, and then they get rid of you, and that's tough. Like when we did ours, I mean, they might get rid of the kids, and then like so we had the girl that played my daughter. It's like they sit there and you're like, what if they tell her no? Like, that's where you're like, if I was like, hey, what if I just have my daughter play my daughter? And they're like, you don't want that because then they might be like, hey, this ain't working. And then you got to go get rid of you got to fire your daughter.
Yeah.
And so you're like, you just can't put that pressure, which the girl that did ours was great. And so that wasn't going to come to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just even the idea of thinking that I'd be like, I'd almost quit the show.
Yeah.
I'd want to adults you get, but like a kid, you're like, I can't do that.
That's
like,
tough.
I was playing his son.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Adopted son.
I remarried an older woman and she goes, I have one son.
Oh, really?
And I go, yeah. And I go, he's older than you. And it was Brian. And he walks in. I go, that's my boy. I try to play catch with him and just hits him in the face.
Slow reflexes.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, Jerry's dad got replaced. He was in one episode.
That's right.
And then George's dad was in an episode. And then that got redone for syndication. It was different than Jerry Stiller.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. You got to go Stiller.
Yeah.
He's so good.
So what episodes would you see George's?
It was the very first one Frank Costanza was in, which is not till like season 4 or 5 or something.
And there's one episode and that George's parents are not that.
Yeah, it's a different guy. I think it's the guy who played Clark Griswold's dad in Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
And they just didn't like the feel of it, so they reshot it in syndication.
Wow.
On the DVD, you can watch both episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now going back, you're like, it's got to be Stiller because he's a tall guy, bald, and
yeah,
it's the handicap spot episode where they trash his car.
Yep.
Yeah.
It says the.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, that's the episode that they did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the, unbelievable. He goes,
yeah.
Go, will you go? Like he does I think that rhythm, right?
Yeah,
When he talks to him.
Yeah, they said he had that rhythm because he couldn't remember his lines, so they were coming to him slowly.
Yeah.
And it just worked out.
Yeah.
And he said Larry David wanted him to be a low-key guy because Estelle was so high-strung. And it just wasn't working for him. So he's like, I'm going to go the opposite and just be as crazy as she is. And then Larry David's like, you got to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Ever tell you I had a silver dollar collection?
Yeah, true. Boca. You tell me they don't have anything in Boca.
Exactly. Yeah. It was gold.
He was unreal, dude. Yeah.
There was one episode that they never finished. It was called The Bet. And it was about how quickly somebody could buy a handgun.
Huh.
And it was for the show's second season. And Seinfeld said, we started making it and stopped in the middle and said, this just doesn't work. It's just too hard to try to make it funny. So,
oh, weird because it was about guns, I guess.
It's just a weird thing for them. I mean, that's like one of those things that's like, that's a funny line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can make an episode about it.
Yeah.
But it's a very funny thing to maybe that's one storyline or something. But, you look at it and you're like, it's a very funny thing to be like, hey, how quick can somebody? It's funny to watch people try to go buy a gun.
Yeah.
But then you're basically watching everybody do the exact same thing.
True. Kramer could have a side thing where he's going to the shooting range and getting addicted, but you can't do all Elaine with a gun. Come on.
It would almost be like, it'd be a line that you're like, how quick do you think you can buy a gun? And everybody's like, I think it'd take me 5 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour. And then Kramer just walks in with a gun. And then you're like, all right, so he wins? And you go, yeah.
Yeah. And
Like, and then that's kind of it.
That's
And
like the contest kind of
Exactly.
format.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it does change. Someone has a gun. It's like that changes the feel.
That's true.
Of what the show is.
Yeah, and it's also such a city show. They're New
Yeah.
York City Jewish guys and
They're kind of mean too. Like,
right.
so it's like you'd be like, oh, now they have a gun. Like it
Yeah.
just, it's too much.
That's like I didn't like the one with Crazy Joe Davola where Elaine goes to his apartment.
Mhm.
It's like the only one where it's kind of scary.
Right, that's
It
true.
was just a weird feel for the show.
Yeah.
Death to Tyrants. Yeah, that is a weird
But
one.
he came back in a lot of episodes, and it
Mhm.
it's almost like that was a setup for the rest of the show. Like he came out, he yelled out on
Mhm.
the thing, and
Oh, yeah, that's right.
yeah,
And he hits
Yeah.
Kramer in the head. He dents the
Yeah.
helmet.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Susan, well, they didn't like her, the woman who played Susan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
George said the timing was just not George. Jason Alexander said the timing was just never right. And he's like, okay, she's going this way, and then he would try it, and then she would change, so they couldn't play off each other well. And then Julia Louis-Dreyfus said it's impossible. It's impossible to work with her.
Wow.
And Jason Alexander said, Julia Dreyfus said, don't you want to just kill her? And Larry said, that's it. And so they came up with killing her off.
Oh,
Cool.
because she did do good.
Yeah, she was fun.
Like she was fun. It was kind of great. Like she was a different feel,
yeah.
Good
which
straight
almost
man.
was almost like a good. It was just perfect in that scenario to be like, you don't want another Elaine.
No.
You liked her being like kind of
A girl.
out
girl.
of it, a girl,
Yeah.
like, and then just being this kind of story.
Yeah.
But then, her dying is,
Oh, the invitations.
I mean, unbelievable.
So good. That's a great later ep. Because when I was watching that, I was going through a kind of a breakup with a girl, and I was trying to get out of the relationship. She wouldn't let me. So when seeing George start smoking, like they got a hold of me.
Yeah, they got a hold of me.
All that was amazing to me.
Yeah.
You never saw that on a sitcom. A guy trying to get out of a relationship.
Yeah,
It was all just trying to get in him.
yeah.
Prenup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Well, that's which we would talk about my favorite episode, Andrea Doria, when he
Oh,
says,
yeah.
you got to look at breaking up. It's the most important part of a relationship. So they're only focused on breaking up.
Yes.
Like if you don't break up, nice. That's the most important part of the relationship.
Yeah, and remember that he's watching Mad About You with
Yeah.
her, and he's miserable.
yeah,
and then they
yeah.
cut to Jerry. He's on the couch watching a baseball game and going,
He goes, you gotta. And then the guy on there goes, you gotta love sports.
he's eating popcorn.
Not even baseball, just
Yeah.
in general. You gotta love sports.
Yes, so good.
Yeah, and he just. It's so. Yeah, it's perfect, dude.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Guy lost his job as the executive with Miller Brewing because he was fired for sexual harassment because he was telling a female coworker, about the Junior Mint episode where Jerry can't remember his girlfriend's name.
Oh.
Yeah.
And she accused him of sexual harassment because he kept telling her the story. He sued her back.
All right.
Yeah. That was happening back then.
Yeah, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, everybody wants a
Just
buck.
telling her about the episode.
I mean, who knows what he was saying? He was
I know.
Probably,
Yeah, you got to go. They go. You like
Come
dive
on.
into it. You're like,
Yeah.
what was happening? You're like, he didn't have clothes on. You're like, oh, they should put that in there.
Yeah.
Like they should really say that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
the betrayal episode, the backwards episode, that was based off a play where they did something very similar.
Mm,
The guy who wrote it was Harold Pinter,
Mm-hmm.
and Sue Ellen Mishke's fiance was named Pinter.
there you go.
Oh yeah,
Look at that.
that's a good one.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's the lollipops getting bigger with
yeah,
Kramer.
yeah. Kramer's all of it's good. Kramer's story is really great in that.
Yeah, definitely. The what was it? The Double Dog Dairy or Make a Wish or
Yeah, I didn't
It
love
was
that
a-
episode.
Shooting on a Star. I
Shooting a
think.
star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
Pull an eyelash
I
out.
liked it
Yeah.
because it always fit. It just like when you go back to rewatch it, it feels different.
Mm.
I could see it being like you couldn't watch it a ton,
Mm.
Yeah.
but sometimes it's like feels nice to go back and like, oh yeah, this one is different.
Yeah, it breaks it up a little.
Kramer's is great. The snowball gets bigger,
Yes.
and like his whole thing is, and they're like, he's just doing that. And they get there and he pulls out an eyelash.
Yeah.
And that guy does it. And then he throws change in and he's got that little
Yes,
chain thing
yes.
on. And he's like just taking it out and goes, I can do this all day.
Yeah. He's got one of my favorite lines. He goes, he gave me the eye. Stink eye, evil eye, crooked eye, or whatever
Yeah,
he says.
yeah.
So funny.
Jerry said his least favorite episode was the alternate side. When Jerry's car's stolen, George blocks traffic during the Woody Allen film, and Kramer says, these pretzels are making me thirst.
Oh, I see. I didn't love that one.
That's his least favorite.
Oh,
Yeah.
his least favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the pretzel's making me thirsty though. That's what's crazy. Even in his least favorite, It's one of the better lines.
Yeah, that one stuck.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Yeah.
Like them young, like that sticks with you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Some of them is like, yeah, it's a funny idea. And it's like, maybe it doesn't play out as much, but it's a funny, the whole idea is great.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. You said your favorite, Andrea Doria?
Yeah. You have episode like?
I thought we talked maybe at the end our favorites.
Yeah. Okay. I'll save it.
But Jerry's favorite show moment, not episode, but moment was when George pulled the golf ball out. The Marine Biologist episode.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that episode later. But that's that whole speech.
Amazing.
Is great. Yeah.
Amazing. They said they wrote that, at 2 a.m, just him and Larry.
Yeah. One take.
Yeah.
Yeah. Festivus, that was a real thing. One of the writers' dads celebrated that. You have a clock in a bag, just weird stuff like that. Whoa. They didn't know why, but that was a real thing.
That's where, like, I know Raymond had a lot of stuff like that where you're like, that really happened. Mm-hmm. And so, like, that's why this stuff works is like when you write a show, and I think that's what hurts shows, is they write these shows and they don't take anything from the writers' lives. Mm-hmm. So if you're a writer on that show and you're like, I like this episode, you're like, yeah, that's my life.
Yeah.
Like Office, when he walks into the water pond on video, like you remember the one where they show it on the mall?
Koi pond?
No. Yeah. Not the one where Jim falls, but because he falls into another one. But the one in the Office where Michael Scott walks, he's in the mall and he's not paying attention. He walks right into the
fountain.
The fountain.
Yeah.
And I believe so.
Okay.
And then there's video of that. And Halstead Sullivan, who I know, he wrote that episode.
Uh-huh.
And then that happened to one of his friends.
Oh, there you go.
And so they put it in that. And it's like, so like everything's kind of got that kind of real feel to it.
Yeah. Got to have it.
About a year after the show ended, there was work on a spinoff called The Jackie Chiles Show.
Wow.
Yep.
He was hilarious.
Yep.
He was hilarious, but that's funny that like it's like they go, no Kramer spinoff, no, you think let's do Jackie Chiles. I mean, maybe they're thinking like, well, there's the least about him. Mm-hmm. That's a big, big problem, man. Spinoffs, I mean, how many have worked? Frasier. That's it.
That's maybe
Not
it.
many. I mean, Norman Lear had a bunch of spinoffs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I mean, there was 5 channels on television.
Yeah.
Like that's true. Well, I mean, I remember not long after it ended, Michael Richards had a show.
Yeah.
They played something.
I think it was in a court or something.
I think it was like an undercover detective or something.
Yeah, something like that. And it just went nowhere.
Yeah,
they all did.
Yeah.
I think they all got shot. You know what? Julia Dreyfus said she had amazing Christine. That show was good. Lasted a long time.
That was like 6 years or so.
And then she's on Veep. I mean, she's clearly the best actress.
Standout.
Like, it's not even close. Like, she's
a beast. She kills it on Curb.
She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Kills it on Curb, Veep. Like, she's unreal.
Oh, yeah. I think she came from a wealthy family, too.
I always heard that. Like a billionaire.
Oil tycoon.
Married Brad Hall at like age 20, and they're still together.
But she's like someone that you're like, so if she came from that, you're like, she's got all this on her own. Like it's, sometimes you always think that and you're like, oh, they got that because they're blah, 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 whatever. And you're like, no, she's we're one of the better actors.
Right.
Definitely.
Comedic actors.
Yeah. I mean, not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mentioned the bisque.
Yeah.
Newman does not have a first name. There's common speculation that his first name was Norman because of the bottle deposit episode where the farmer's daughter shouts, "Goodbye, Norman."
Yeah.
But that was an actress mistake. She mistook Newman for Norman, and they liked it so much that they kept it in.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting. She wouldn't know Newman's name.
Yeah.
She's an actress on the show.
We got to think in that time, think about that show's so big. Say you're an actress, right? And that's towards the end. So you got to know this show's the hottest show on television.
Yeah.
But if you're that actress and you're playing you're just not watching TV.
Yeah.
And you're, I'm trying to think what's the biggest show now? Like
Squid Game.
Squid Game.
I know, Squid Game. But what's like a
I don't even know.
What is a big show?
I don't
now?
even know.
Oh, Ted Lasso?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Ted Lasso, right? It's a big show. Or Modern Family, when that was on, and someone you got on, you're like, you don't know these characters, and you're like, no, I don't. I just have never watched this show. And so, for that moment, I mean, I would think
I'm surprised you think that because I think the opposite. You're on the biggest show in the world. You're playing opposite him. You would know his name.
But I mean, that's an actress that her world is I don't know if she has time to.
I guess I just think of her as this is the biggest role of her life.
Yeah. But she could have messed up just like right when she said it. She's like, "I'm so sorry.
Right.
I know it's
Yeah.
and then they're like, no, you know what? We like Norman." I think that is probably more of what happened. But I mean, you're going to get how many people that are on that show? You're going to get the people that are like, "Yeah, I don't know what this show is." There's, I mean, I think about with musicians. There's musicians that you see out now. I'll see them on like Fallon, and then I'll like look at who they are. They have 60 million followers.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't know this person was born.
Right,
Yes,
right.
exactly.
And they're selling out arena. Like, so it's kind of, you go back, you're like, you didn't know they were the biggest band touring. And you're like, I just wasn't paying attention. I didn't know. That's what I think.
I have that all the time. With you walk by these theaters in New York, it seats 5,000 people in some K-pop, and they're like biggest thing on the planet. I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah Silverman said in her episode with Michael Richards, what is it she says? It was probably just the wind.
Yeah.
And she said it was probably just the rain. And he jumped all over her about it and said, "Do you see rain out there? Is there rain?" You know, got all over about her. And then the next day they were going over their lines, and she said she confronted him about it and like, "Don't act like nothing happened." You know, yell. And then she said they became good friends after that.
Oh,
Who? Her?
And Michael Richards.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if good friends, but
Yeah.
that kind of broke the ice.
Well, you know, talking about Elaine too, he is another one that's like a comedic actor he's so amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're all actually great actors. I'm not trying to say like Julia Louis-Dreyfus was able. Jason Alexander's done some other stuff.
he's a great actor.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
And so he's been able to do it. Yeah, he is a great actor. So not the saying they're not all, they're obviously all amazing actors, but Julia Louis-Dreyfus just seemed like she's spread out and like really shed her character.
Yeah.
Every time you see Jason Alexander, you're still just thinking that. But he was great in that one. He had a tail.
Oh, Shallow Hal.
Shallow Hal. He was great in that. That was a
Yeah.
pretty fun movie. And like, he was great in that. And I didn't really think of him being George there. And then Michael Richards, I don't. But I mean, his early stuff he was just his
He was
early
on
stuff.
Fridays.
Yeah, Fridays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he was unreal in that. You ever watch some old clips of that?
Oh,
where he's
yeah.
playing like a weightlifter and stuff.
On Leno.
It's unreal. Like he's
Was he smoking or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Smokey's like a workout instructor. Smoking.
Yeah.
he's someone that would be great now, and he should do videos on Instagram like that are kind of fake health videos or something. Like he would crush it on that because that's what he's so good at.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he could just sit in a studio and be like,
That's true.
let's just shoot 100 of these and you just be funny. And
Yeah.
he would be better than everybody.
Right. Yeah. He's a physical acting phenom.
Yeah.
Comedic acting physically is incredible.
Yeah.
Jerry's address was 129 West 81st Street. That's not a real address, but it would be across from, it's on near Central Park, across from the Museum of Natural History. And did you guys see, it was buzzing a few months ago about how his apartment layout could not really be like that. Did you see that?
I did see that, yeah.
The way his kitchen goes, it would be like out in the hallway if it was real.
Yeah.
That was like a meme or something that was.
That's when people get too involved. You're like, all right, it's a comedy show. You're working on the diet, you know.
I never thought about that. That's a real New York thing to think about.
Yeah.
No one, why? Because they don't think it could be big enough?
I think the layout, the architectural layout, it would be like the way his kitchen is, it would be way out in the hall. Like it wouldn't make sense that the hall would be straight like that. I mean, I can pull it up.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know. I mean, you look at Kramer's and he opens the door and he's like up against a wall.
Yeah, that's right.
And so you're like, that one, you're like, well, that's not, no one's house does that, I think.
Yeah.
But I never like really cared.
No, it's about the jokes.
Yeah. It's, just click one of those links. Like, yeah. It would be,
That's true. It would be in the hallway if the door is right there.
Yeah. But why couldn't they have it built out like
somewhere I thought there was an image that showed
like what it really was?
Yeah.
This is when a show is popular, when you're doing a diorama.
Yeah, you're trying to find something wrong with the show.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is right
Jerry's
there. There you
hallway
go.
can't exist. Oh, because okay.
those green lines would be the kitchen, I guess.
Yeah. And so I see that. Like, because otherwise the hall wouldn't be straight.
Yeah, but this is like
Right.
those psychos who go, they got the origin story wrong for Hawkeye. You're like, all right,
Yeah.
it's a movie.
Yeah.
It's all made up.
I mean, so his kitchen could exist. There's a quarter of it that couldn't exist.
Yeah,
But it's a television show and we got to make a show.
there you go.
And so you got to have some exaggeration.
Did you see where on Netflix now it's shot in 16:9? So
I did.
there's stuff that's cut off.
Stuff's cut out.
Are they going to get that fixed?
I don't think so.
Really?
I think it was like that on Hulu.
That's crazy.
Really?
That's what I read, and they just. I mean, I watched some last night, and yeah, like the pothole episode, I think it shows it cut out. I didn't really notice it just watching some episodes.
I don't know if I would have noticed it either. But you just think like this has got to be the last big, I would imagine, last hoorah of selling this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to do next. I mean, they're just older. I mean, maybe it gets sold again. You never know. But it's like, to me, it feels very much like Netflix is the home.
Yep.
He has a great relationship with Netflix. It's like, I'm done. He gets one last big payment and he gets to be like, I don't want to talk about this show ever again.
Is there more of a genius guy in comedy to sell? He sold so much old stuff again.
Yeah.
And just re-upped it and made a new paycheck.
Yeah. Right.
Hulu, the first was syndication, then Hulu, then whatever, now Netflix. Paycheck.
Yeah, there's I don't think there is. I mean, his career is what you wanted.
Yeah.
We wanted his career to be like a show about him. And I always looked at it. You want to tour? I want to do a show about him and about myself and play myself. And then, and then after that, just do like, did B Movie. I thought B Movie was great.
Yeah.
Like he did Comedian, that documentary, that changed my life. Like that's why I moved to New York. I moved to New York, months after I saw that. Yeah, I watched it in Chicago at a movie theater alone.
Whoa.
And I went like during the day.
Yeah.
And then obviously it wasn't, it's not like a big crazy movie. Most people didn't even know probably what it was. And I remember I went maybe with a couple people from my restaurant and I watched it. I have it on DVD. I watched it so much I could recite lines from it. And then it was a big reason. I mean, I knew then I got to go to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I was like starting to figure out, all right, I got to go to New York. That's where I got to be. And it's because of that. I don't know if I would have known to go to New York. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking, but I don't like watching that. You're like, yeah, that's what I got to go do.
Yeah.
And so like that DVD affected my life and career. Like I'm where I'm at because I watched that and had to go to New York. And then that's how you, I think, become a great comic is being around New York comics.
I agree. And first of all, Orny Adams in that movie, I was like, I'd kill to be there.
Yeah.
He was complaining the whole time. I was like, you're past at every club.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's all I wanted in this business. And then two, seeing Seinfeld bomb was insane because he was such a, legend already.
I don't know if he's had a mistake in his career.
Some people say the Marriage Ref.
Yeah. But I almost think the Marriage Ref could have worked and it just didn't work at the time.
Yeah.
Tom Papa's great.
Yeah.
They had Madonna, Larry David on. I think it could have, I think it was almost maybe a little ahead of its time as far as like an idea for a show.
Yeah. Trump did one.
Oh, he did?
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was on that show.
Yeah.
Is that wild?
Yeah. I saw something. I was watching Die Hard 2 and someone, this woman's on the phone. I'm going through Die Hards now. I don't think I've watched any of them.
Yeah.
I'm the Lance Armstrong of, but I was not allowed to watch any of these movies.
Oh, I didn't know
I'm catching back up. I mean, you just grew up. I mean, we're Baptist, Christian parents. Like it was, my parents became Christian when I was born. Like, so I was like, I just wasn't allowed to watch a lot of stuff, which is fine. I don't have a bad upbringing because I had a great upbringing, but I just wasn't. So I missed. So I was like, how do you not see that movie? I was like, this is right in the prime of me not allowed to watch anything.
Sure.
So I would have never seen it. And then I just got out of whenever I could, I just kind of started there and moved forward. I also don't remember movies. So there's part of that. But, in Die Hard, he goes, you got to do this, move something like we got to take all the calls because they can't use their phones in Die Hard 3, I think. And the police can't use their radars. So like every cop has to now call to the boards, like the 911 boards. And then she's like, well, how am I going to handle all these calls? And he goes, we got to do all these calls or something. She goes, oh yeah. And I'm going to marry Donald Trump. So it was just, that was the line to be like, oh yeah, you know what? This is as easy as me marrying Donald Trump.
Wow.
It's funny to see that now. And then but at that time it was like, yeah, I mean, he was
He was
Donald
a famous
Trump.
millionaire.
Yeah. So, that's crazy.
Steinbrenner played himself on an episode, but he was so bad that they cut it out.
Well, it was Larry David, right?
Which was so funny.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't going to be the first episode, but long after that character was already going, they said it'd be funny to have Steinbrenner play himself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was when George was about to get married and Elaine was going alone to the wedding.
Yeah.
And he wants to go with Elaine. He's like, only losers sit at the losers table. I'm a winner.
Yeah.
But it was so, you can see it in the DVD extra, I think, but it was so bad that they cut it out, and Larry David had to tell George Steinbrenner, cutting you out of it.
That's wild.
He said he was cool about it.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I guess Steinbrenner loved that they did that.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Jay Buhner stuff, he thought that was very funny and all that.
I mean, that's one of the best.
Yeah.
Jay Buhner, y'all trade. Is that the one he traded for?
Yeah.
I mean, how good of an episode is that? Where George is dead.
Right.
And the first thing he says, how could you trade Jay Buhner? He had an amazing arm. He goes, I know, but people like Kent. What's his name?
I already forgot.
Kent's already off George.
Yeah.
George is gone.
Yeah. And it's his father.
His father. His son is dead. And the first thing he goes, how could you trade Jay Buhner?
Like a rocket of an arm.
He had a rocket of an arm. Y'all don't know what y'all are doing. He goes, I know. Jay Buhner was great.
Yeah.
They start talking. I mean,
that's a great app.
That's one of my favorite lines is he leaves a message. He goes, Jerry, this is Frank. George is dead. Call me back.
Call me back.
Yeah.
George is dead. Steinbrenner's here. Call me back.
Yeah. And then Jerry goes, this is a great Kramer line. He goes, you want to come to Yankee Stadium and help me pull these flyers off George? Oh, yeah. I could have said just about anything there, huh?
Yeah. We've done that. He'll ask me to go do something just ridiculous, and I'm all up for it.
Yeah.
And he'll see, I could have said pretty much anything. Lane wasn't in the pilot, of course. The waitress was going to be the female kind of, not lead, but, and then after the pilot, they're like, yeah, we need more of a female character than just the waitress.
Yeah, well, they nailed it.
Yeah.
They did. George wasn't in the Penn episode.
That's right.
And he thought he was being written out and told Larry David, if you're going to do it, just do it all together.
Oh, wow.
That's bold.
And they were like, no.
Yeah, they're like, just chill out.
Yeah.
But he was a Broadway actor, and he felt like that time Seinfeld wasn't huge, and he's like, it could be canceled any day now anyway.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, at the beginning, it never would have lasted now.
No, God.
And that's why TV doesn't work.
Yes.
Because they don't let something get an audience.
Yeah, it had to find its footing.
Yeah.
And it did.
And it's the greatest show. And that's all the old shows did that.
Yep.
Let people figure it out, and then everybody loves it.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to hire the right people. There's a lot of stuff that is kind of luck. You got to, everybody's got to work out.
Mm-hmm.
You got to let these shows try.
Yeah.
And they don't. They go, that's not working. They would do 3 episodes and we're done. And you're like, nothing can be. Modern Family was probably pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was out the gate. Was like, this
true.
one's a monster.
Killer show.
But yeah, now they don't give them a chance.
It's like a stand-up set. You got to work it out. You got to give it a few years.
Yeah.
But not anymore.
The theme music for Seinfeld was different every time. Like in the opening, when he's telling the jokes on stage. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I never knew that till recently, but the guy said he would listen to the monologue and put that in kind of with the beats of the joke.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's great music because it's not words.
Yeah.
It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the sounds, which is perfect.
Perfect. And you know it a mile away. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
Seinfeld's coming on. You're in the other room.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into our favorites?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Now I watched Vulture just put out, because it's on Netflix. They ranked every episode.
Yeah.
Their least favorite's the Puerto Rican Day Parade. I already watched it last night. You like it, right?
There's something in
I'm
it
not a
that I
fan of
don't
it.
mind. It's one that the Puerto Rican Day Parade one was one that I think I watched where you're like, did I ever see this one?
Yeah, that was banned.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, and so then I watched it. I don't mind. What was in it that was, I know it's the Green Sob, right?
Penny Packer.
Mr. Pennypacker trying to use the bathroom. That's very funny.
Yeah.
George has got the light.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got the
laser
maroon.
pointer, maroon sob.
Yeah. And then, no, it's the maroon something. And I think Jerry's got the.
Oh, yeah. Jerry's
green.
got the black sob and
Yeah.
maroon. I forgot.
Yeah. Huh?
Golf.
Maroon golf.
Yeah.
And then, but the laser thing's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like he does, isn't that where he gets that's not where he has the line of like to walk out.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then he goes back and does it again.
Right.
About the Hindenburg.
Yeah.
Yes.
The blimp.
Yeah. Very funny. That's
funny.
a very funny story. George Costanza was, characters, I think he's my favorite.
Oh, me too.
Me too.
Sure.
Yeah. It's and he wasn't at the beginning. I was a big Kramer guy.
Yeah, everybody was.
But it makes me, which you want to talk about. The thing that talk about is like, people like don't like when Larry David left.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like people just trash Seinfeld. Like didn't create it with Larry David. I get Larry David created the show, but if Larry David does not have Jerry, I don't think that show makes it. Jerry did the right thing. He got all these great actors around him. He never tried to do too much.
Yeah.
He just said, I was kind of here just to kind of move y'all. That's what made the show. That's a hard thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry's ego could have came in and said, no, I want to be the star, even though his name's on it, but he could be like, people like y'all more than they do me, and I want the other way, and the show would have went down.
Yes.
And he kept his ego out of it. That's you know how hard that is? I mean, George has an ego. Jason Alexander, in the fact that he goes, am I going to be written out? These people are always super worried. And Jerry just knew, like, it ain't about who's who.
That's a great point.
It's like, it's me. So people just act like, well, once Larry David left, it's not Larry David's the only reason Seinfeld's good. And you're like, you're out of your mind. They couldn't have done this. I mean, look at Curb.
Yeah.
Curb's unreal. But what makes Seinfeld special is he made him do it clean.
Yeah.
So then they had to do it where they chose all this other stuff and choose all the contest and all these kind of other things where they talked about all this kind of crazy stuff, but did it in a different way. And that was the appeal of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And, like it's almost like Larry's edginess needed Seinfeld's kind of cleanness.
Yeah.
And be like, we can create something amazing if we can meet in the middle.
Yes.
And that's what they did. And something was amazing. And Curb Your Enthusiasm, so Seinfeld's the greatest show ever. Everybody watches it. And he does Curb. Everybody loves it, but a lot of people don't watch it like they did Seinfeld because they're like, I don't like that kind of stuff. Well, you got to have both. Curb is an amazing show. Curb will never be what Seinfeld is.
No.
Never in a million years. So they both created that.
Mm-hmm.
How I don't understand how you're like, I get like the importance. I'm not trying to downplay the importance of Larry David. I think Larry David's unreal. And I mean, a guy that I would love to meet. I want to golf with Larry David.
Yeah.
If for some reason ever watched this,
right.
Big golfer. I would just love to talk comedy.
Yeah.
I'm a stand-up comedian. But you can, like with Jerry, it's like, they just dismiss like he's just nothing.
It's true.
And people want to, and you're like, are you crazy, dude? And so getting into once Larry leaves and then it's 8, 9, go through 8, 9, dude. It's pretty great.
There's a lot of gold.
There's a lot of crazy episodes. Season 8 is Andrea Doria.
Yeah.
I believe my favorite episode. That's season 8.
Yeah.
Larry's gone.
True.
Look at 9. Didn't Larry come back for some of 9?
A little bit of 9,
but towards the end of 9, I didn't mind the last episode.
I didn't mind it either.
Yeah. I think it was a great idea to get everybody back in.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, well, everybody didn't kind of like it. And you go back to watch it, you're like, it's actually a pretty great episode. And they're so brilliant. And this is back kind of where Larry comes in, but I'm sure he comes in with Jerry on this. They did a reunion show on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's killer.
The brilliance of that to do a reunion show that's not a reunion show. You do that Friends reunion show. I didn't watch it, but that's like an interview and them talking. I don't care. My wife watched it. But that Curb where they bring Seinfeld back, they just do the show again.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Amazing.
That's like Bob Newhart's, like when he wakes up in that second and he goes, oh, it's all a dream. Like, and he's back to the old first one.
Uh-huh.
That's how good of an idea that is.
Yes.
To do that. And look, it might be Larry. I don't know. It's got to be both. Probably kind of came up with, talked about that. So them together is the best option you can have.
Yeah, of course.
And them separate, and Larry was like someone that wanted to quit all the time. And like, the headache of dealing with that, where like Jerry's got to star in the show. They got to write this show. And then the main guy he's created with is just always threatening to quit.
Yeah.
Which you need that guy that has that because they got a lot of stuff through because of that. But that's a lot of stuff you throw on Jerry.
Yeah.
And then the show's the biggest show on earth and you quit. You do 2 more seasons and the main guy and the other creator quits.
It's a great point.
I mean, and that show just kept every most watched episode, the final episode.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't dip.
No.
Look at The Office. The Office crashes.
Ooh, yeah.
Crashes.
Drops off a cliff.
I mean, like, because Michael Scott leaves. But Seinfeld, they didn't crash.
Yeah.
They just kept going. Episode 8 is
Season 8?
Yeah, season 8. Season 8 was Seinfeld's gone. But I mean, you look at it like
Larry
the
David's
foundation. How good is that? I mean, that's where she dies on 7, and they come back out with the foundation. The Soulmate, Bizarro Jerry, the Little Kicks episode's an amazing episode.
Oh, that was a hit.
The Package. The Fatigues was where they were trying to get him to cook.
Yeah.
The Chicks.
Oh, the chicken roaster.
The chicken roaster is season 8. Andrea Doria, my favorite episode.
Yeah.
Because it's the one where I feel like it's the most flawless of everybody's stories.
Mhm.
I need to probably go back through and maybe rethink that. But that's the one, the Van Buren boys.
Oh, yeah.
The comeback where he goes, that's what I should have said. He goes, hey, the jerk store called.
Yes.
And the Susie, the pothole, the English patient was like, I didn't care about yada, yada, yada.
Wow.
I mean, the Millennium, the Muffin Tops, the Summer of George.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unreal, dude.
Yeah, it's still great.
You don't realize how great it, people kind of just go, nah, they're not good. You're like, they're unreal.
They're great.
Look at the bottom of 9, like the start of 9, because he didn't start at the beginning. Then you got the Butter Shave.
Oh, yeah.
The Voice. A lot of people love The Voice.
Hello.
I was never a big fan of that voice, but it's like the idea of that show. I like that whole show.
Yeah.
The Blood. The Blood's a great show. Like he puts blood in his car.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, and they're hiding blood, and Jerry's like, is it in here? Is it in? Like, the Junk Mail. The Merv Griffin show.
That's a
Come on. That's one of my favorites of all time.
Where are the cameras?
Where are the cameras? Yeah. That's you say that all. The Merv Griffin episode is unbelievable.
Amazing.
They have the Slicer.
Oh yeah.
A great line in the Slicer where they're sitting there he's gonna put that to just they slice the food for the cat and he needs to get in the house. They have to do the electricity. That scene is so good.
Oh, so good.
And Kramer's like, why don't you do it?
Yeah.
She goes, no, you just do it. He goes, I know, but you're, and he goes, all right. And he goes, like, and just the way he shots, he goes, oh, you're all right?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. The Strike, the Dealership, the Reverse People. Reverse People was a great episode.
The Dealership, Grease Monkey. I don't care for that term.
Yeah.
Wix.
Yeah. Strombox, Wizard, The Burning, The Bookstore, The Frogger. The Frogger.
Right. Frogger.
And so you just go kind of to the end and like see if they.
That's it.
Yeah. So Larry David, did he come back in just for the final?
He did.
I think he did. Yeah.
So that whole thing, the clip show is like obviously just whatever. The Puerto Rican Day Parade, they all wrote. I don't think it's bad. It's like
it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen on that.
Yeah, a lot of people in on it. But I mean, they're at the end.
Yeah.
The Frogger is a great episode.
Oh,
these are great episodes, man. Like I argue that these are some of the most lines said are from this.
Yada yada, all that stuff.
All that stuff. The most famous lines are from 8 and 9. And so people just act like Seinfeld's a joke.
Yeah.
And he was pointless to the show.
I completely agree. You make a good point, and I appreciate that you got Jerry's back. The only thing I'll say about these episodes that takes me out of it is sometimes the characters, it doesn't live up to their true care. Like one point, there's one episode where Kramer gets lost.
Yeah.
And his whole thing is that he's like a New York guy. Mm-hmm. He drove the fire truck. He knows every street, but he's like, why would Kramer get lost? So stuff like that where you're like, how do you know these characters or not?
Yeah.
And that would take me out of it. But there's great comedy in all these episodes.
That's first and first.
Yes.
First.
Yeah. How could two streets intersect each other?
It's like the nexus of the universe.
Nexus of the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, that line
it's great.
It's so great. And like that, he sells that line.
Yeah.
I mean, but you look at like what episode was that when he's calling down to the he's dating a girl.
Yes.
In
like Battery Park or something.
And he's like, he goes, you know what? Same time, it's the same time there as it is here. And like, I mean, that's kind of his character is like,
that's true.
And so he goes down there and it's just, but I think the joke of it is he does know the streets, but he knows that fire department that's just in the west side. You wouldn't call that fire department for the Battery Park.
I see.
You'd call one of their fire departments.
Right.
So he knows west side where they're at. And then the joke of it is like, well, nobody, he thinks Battery Park down all the way down by Wall Street is a different area.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you're in New York, there's times people are like, they could be like, I ain't been down past 14th Street in 2 years.
Exactly.
Like they don't know what's down there.
Right.
And like, cause it's like, you don't end up going down there.
That's very New York.
But the Wizard's great.
I don't love season 9 as much as you do. Some of those, I feel like some of the storylines were getting a little more far fetched with
like the cough with the dog, Smuckers.
That's Andrea Doria though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so if the line was maybe one of my favorite, there's a few favorite lines, But when he goes, why don't you go to a doctor? He goes, I'll take a. So he's going to go to a vet over a doctor. He goes, I'll take a vet over a doctor any day. They got to cure a chicken, a dog, a turtle, a frog, all in the same day.
Yeah.
And he makes a point there where you're like, yeah, I mean, I guess they are versatile. Like
that's true. That's a very Nate joke,
yes.
too.
Yeah.
And so, like, that line is unbelievable. I get, like, his cough, and, like, I can see how I don't take it as serious.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think about that line and the idea. And I just watched it. Jerry holds the keys.
Yeah.
He goes, come on, you wanna go for a run? You wanna go for a run? And he's in the back. He goes, this ain't where. And then he's coughing. He loses his shoe. He runs off.
Oh, yeah.
Then you got Big Head.
Yeah.
They call Elaine Big Head. So they go, she's at the Old Mill restaurant. And he's walking by, he's coughing, and the lady runs out. Hey, you need some help. There's some big-headed woman that's trying to like stab this guy. So he goes to the cop. He starts coughing, telling him like he's a dog. He goes,
Lassie.
I know what he's saying.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
There's a fight at the Old Mill. Good boy. I'll follow you.
Right.
So that's Kramer's storyline. Seinfeld, or Elaine's storyline is going, she called him big-headed, and she goes, that's one of the nicest things anybody ever said to me. He's a bad breaker-upper. How would, that's one of the best parts of a relationship is if someone can't break up, why would I want to be in it?
Right.
That kind of stuff. And then that guy just keeps doing it. He goes, great with your bump in your nose. And then it starts, never seen a bird hit a woman's head before. That's all that. And then George.
Kelza Costanza.
Huh?
That's the Andrea Doria.
That's Andrea Doria. Yeah. That's George's maybe greatest thing ever. Where that guy, he gets in there and the stories of Costanza, and he goes, I mean, another one that's my favorite is you look at that, a dog, that line, and then the other one with George, where he goes in and he goes, the guy survived Andrew Doran, and he goes, oh, I remember that. There's some fire. She goes, shipwreck. He goes, I remember. And then he walks out. And then they talk, and then Kramer has a book, The Astonishing Tales of the Seas.
Yes.
And he goes, 51 people died. He goes, what? He goes, how many people died on a normal cruise? 30, 40? Which is my favorite line. That's a great joke. So funny to think that every cruise that goes out, 30 to 40 people die on it. And people are just going on cruises. And you're just like, I mean, how many people die on a normal cruise? 30, 40? Brilliant. He goes, I got astonishing bear attacks. Yeah. So he goes, takes him and watches that. And he goes, it took a long time. Then he goes, when he walks up, that old man's moving in the boat, and he goes, ahoy, mate. And he goes, I'm going to take that. And he does this whole story as everybody's crying. Like he's hitting the wall when the guy's talking. He walks out and goes, oh, by the way, when my fiance died from envelopes that I bought, that poison thing. He goes, all right, thank you. Good night. And walks out. And they're like, and he goes, it's my thing.
I love when she's trying to show him the place. He's like, check out these parquet floors.
Yeah.
Try to guard me.
That's a great joke.
And jumps at her. That's why Andrea Doria just has all those lines.
Yeah.
The one that's that everybody talks about, that is the one, probably the best speeches of the sea was angry that day, my friends. So if you watch that whole episode, it's not good. Mm-hmm. George's is good. Again, George's is great. He's a marine biologist. Jerry lied about that. And he's like, I don't know how to be a marine biologist, architect. And so he has to act. He's like, when, what's those islands?
Galapagos
Islands. He goes, yeah, turtle. He goes, mainly turtle stuff.
Yeah.
And then Jerry has that great line where he goes, he's working on whales, cholesterol. It's they're the biggest mammals in the world, but they don't have to be.
Like George says, they don't have to be.
Like George says, they don't have to be, which is so good. And then he goes on there. There's a well on the thing, and someone just goes, "Is anybody a marine biologist?" No one's ever yelled for a marine biologist ever in the history of life.
Of course.
And he goes in there. Is anybody a marine biologist? And shows him walking out.
Yep.
And he goes back to that story. Kramer in the ball. Kramer's part is pretty good.
Yep.
But Jerry's is the T-shirt, the
Golden
Boy.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Mm-hmm. But that speech. So people think that because they say that speech, and you're like, go look at it. So we're looking at pound for pound the whole episode.
Right.
And so that's where I think Andrea Doria is everybody's storyline is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And so that one is a big one for me. But I mean, Festivus is actually.
Festivus is killer.
The strike.
Is up there. The strike. I mean, when he jams his coat in the when he goes to sign back up for work and he goes, where did everybody do? He goes, I think everyone got other jobs. He goes, kind of like, what were you going to do this for?
Oh, that one's what do you got in there? Crackers?
Yeah, crackers.
That's great.
And then, no, that's the one when he gets a real job, which is another one that's great.
Yeah.
Where he goes, what's in there? Cracker. He gets working hard and he's like, we're not hanging out anymore.
Right,
and
right.
And the guy, they fire him and he goes, look, I don't even work here. And the guy goes, yeah, that's what makes this so hard.
What a joke.
Like it's, they all know. And it's like, he's in there just like, hustling, trying to get on the subway.
Yes.
He's telling jokes. He goes, he's got me busting my hump over there. He goes, and Jerry makes that chicken dinner.
Yeah.
He goes, he goes, you make this? He goes, ordered in, still effort. And then, he goes, we don't hang out anymore. And he's got an ulcer. Like it's that line. That's unbelievable.
So good.
That one. But the strike was when he comes in to work back in that bagel place. And when he goes there and he puts his jacket in where they keep the bagels.
Oh, yeah.
His winter coat. He doesn't put it on a hook. He slides open the where they keep the bagels and jams in the corner. So if you go buy bagels, you're like, I'll get that. What's that? You're like, that's that guy's coat that's where he keeps it.
Right, right. Another great line from that one is Elaine comes in and she gets all messed up from the steam and he goes, Yamahama, it's Fright Night.
Yeah, Fright Night. They all come together that's where she makes the bet on the horses. Then they bring them over the different lighting and then they bring him all over and the
Two-Face.
The Two-Face.
Yeah.
Like and they all go to Lane Bennett. We get a lot of phone calls about you.
Yeah.
And then they're there and like, what are you doing here? And Kramer's like, it's a Festivus miracle. And then he sits there and brings maybe my favorite, not main character, the George's boss.
Oh, Mr. Kruger.
Mr. Kruger. I mean, unreal. I think that guy just died. Too.
Really?
Like, I think he died in a weird way. Like
committed suicide.
They found him like in the forest. Yeah.
Whoa.
Or he went a walk on his own or something kind of crazy. But he, he's probably my favorite off character.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not a main one. Just unreal. Like, it's like,
he's great.
He goes, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
Like when he goes, they go, but he wouldn't do anything. He's out there eating.
Yeah.
And him and George are doing something.
Right.
We got to do this stuff. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
He goes, the human fun. He gives that to the human fun.
That's right. And that's the photo.
And human fun is Festivus. And the photo one's a great one too.
That's a great one.
He comes in. That's the slicer.
That's the slicer, right?
So that's
because he had the mole.
The mole. How good is the slicer?
That's great.
The slicer episode's unbelievable.
Amazing.
It's got that as a character. So they bring him in. George is trying to get out of that.
Yes.
And then he goes, "You lost a lot of hair."
Yeah. I'm aware.
Yeah, I'm aware. You see that no one that's what's so great about Seinfeld. No one gets mad. Like the guy could just flip out like, why'd you break in my office and all this stuff. They don't have the character do that. The character just goes, huh, you lost. Like he's fine that George tried to do this, and he just goes, you lost a lot of hair. I'm aware, and then that's the end.
That's it.
George is the one that's the most mad.
Exactly.
Like it's the fact that no one's getting mad with them.
That's true.
That's what drives them crazy.
And it makes George more of a loser.
He's more of a lunatic loser yelling at all these people.
Yes.
And good call. Slicer's a great one. And then
Mark, tell me what's your favorite?
Well, I think the best episode might be the opposite, George.
Yeah.
The race.
Yes.
That is one, to me, that as a full episode, to me, it's flawless.
Yeah.
With the whole thing with the back and what is that, canvas?
Yeah.
It made the Guggenheim. Really? It didn't take that long either.
Oh, yeah.
All that is amazing. What do you do at the nightclub? You ever notice? It seems like a lot of guys are doing that these days. Boy, you lost a lot of hair there.
Yeah.
You used to have a thick,
Yeah.
full, it's just so good.
Well, when I made my first million, when he says he made the Guggenheim and he goes, didn't take that long either.
Didn't take that long either.
It's very funny. It's so ridiculous that someone built a building and that they would say, how was that? He goes, didn't take that long.
Yeah.
Would an architect ever say that?
Of course not.
Would they ever go like, I'll be honest with you, one of the easier things to do.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Choose not to run. Kramer becomes a communist. There's so much good stuff in that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. To me, that's a flawless, but my favorite episode, for some reason, this episode just hits me, is the dinner party.
Yeah.
It's written by Larry David, but it's the whole show is just stand up. He's like, what kind of cake you want to buy? Black Forest? Ooh, scary.
Yeah.
How about carrot cake? You don't make carrots in a cake. I'm sorry. He's just doing bits.
Yeah.
And I love that episode. The Marble Rye is in it.
The Marble Rye is the dinner party.
Yeah.
Is it called Marble Rye?
No, that's they just have the Marble Rye, but babka. It's babka. Sorry.
Yeah.
And he's like
chocolate babka.
Chocolate babka. No, we got a cinnamon. Cinnamon.
Yeah.
No, Cinnamon's good. He defends Cinnamon. They slip in the liquor store. And
that's where you got the big coat.
Big coat.
Saddam Hussein.
Yeah. There's so many jokes in that one, and it's a Larry David early one, and that one just hits me. I don't we want to put a big jug of Pepsi in the middle of the table.
Yeah.
I like ring dings.
Yeah. And they show up and give the guy the TV.
No, that's a different one. That's the Drake.
The Drake.
Yeah, but they just show up because it was such a hellish day that they just give the guy the babka and they leave.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good one.
I love that episode.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's not one that you would think someone would say is their favorite.
I know. It just that one speaks to me. It's just all jokes.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah. What's yours?
I said before, I'll stick with the Soup Nazi.
Yeah.
Oh, classic.
I got blasted because they said it was too easy, but I feel like every storyline in that's very funny to me.
Yeah.
It's when Elaine's got the
pretty
armoire.
solid. Yeah.
And
Armoire is great.
The Kramer and the street thugs that take it from him.
Street toughs.
Yeah. Street toughs, yeah. George with the poopy schmoopy that kind of backfires on him.
Yeah.
So
schmoopy.
So, yeah, I'd like that one. I would say the smooshy. I didn't like that as them saying that the whole time. Like sometimes when someone's doing something that kind of feels weird.
You just feel like Jerry would never have done that.
Yeah. And so,
I get that.
And so like that's what pulls me out of it. But the Elaine, Kramer, and Soup Nazi are unreal.
Yeah.
That when he goes in there and she goes ba 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 ba.
Oh,
she's
that's
ordering.
incredible.
I told you look like
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino, like in
Sin of a Woman.
Sin of a Woman. Hoo-ah, hoo-ah. And she's just hitting all over it. Like it's a. I mean that was the huge one.
Yeah, that's a great
I
one.
really like the pool guy. That's Movie Phone.
Oh, yeah.
The movie phone is.
That's big.
I mean, big, dude.
Why don't you just tell me the movie you like?
Yeah.
When that came out, I mean, I was a big Movie Phone guy.
Yeah.
That's what people did. You called it. It sounded like that recording. It was so funny.
That's true.
That's what I say, what's the matter with you? Like, because of that episode, because Kramer would always, when he goes to Jerry, he goes, oh, my buddy Jerry saw the movie. And he's like, talk to him. And Jerry's like, I'm not talking to him. He goes, come on. He goes, what's the matter with you? Like, it's so funny to think, like, Jerry doesn't want to talk to an absolute stranger about a movie
about
that he
Firestorm.
just, about Firestorm.
Right.
And he goes, and Kramer's like, what's the matter with you, man? Just do it. Like, Kramer said that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's a great character. Is just someone that's like, that's almost how you just, like, he's going to put you in a horrible situation.
Yep.
And then if you don't do it, he's like, what's the matter? You're
Make
not
you
gonna
look like the idiot.
Yeah, what's the matter with you?
Yeah, that's the little thing.
Yeah.
One time there's an episode where Jerry and Elaine are fighting. He goes, can't you guys see you're in love with each other? And they're like, come on. But that's just classic Kramer.
Yeah, it's that the pool guy is a great episode. Secret Code is a big one too.
Oh, yeah.
Season 7's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's up there, yeah.
Season 7, I get it. I just don't like that 8 and 9 get just
no love.
The Marble Rye is another one.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible that they
Beefarino.
Did they take the rye?
Yeah.
He goes, no, they knew it was there. They didn't put it out. I mean, that's a great. Frank Still goes, who has the chicken? And
yes, that's one of the best.
Yeah.
It's perverse.
It's perverse, yeah.
Something missing.
He goes, something's missing. Something's missing, all right. And then, and that's where they do. I mean, man, I would, I say Frank and Costanza's parents, I mean, their whole family is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But and that's where like the Kruger is, he's more of like, he wasn't in a ton of them, but that was the best, like kind of come on character.
Yeah. Taking out bananas on the side.
Yeah. What was that one?
That was when George is the hand model. This is another great one. And he's living back at home and he's wearing gloves everywhere. And the mom is being so nice to him now because he's actually doing something with his life.
Yeah.
And she's like, I made Jell-O. And he goes, does it have the bananas in it? Like Frank Stiller just chimes in. Like, does it have the bananas in it? She's like, yeah, it has bananas. Why don't you put the bananas on the side? He's like, stop. I can't have all this stress around my epidermis.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. This was much longer than we thought.
Before you go, I did find.
I think we could keep going. I honestly think we'll have you back and maybe you'll be our special Seinfeld episode.
I'm down.
When Jerry Stiller died last year, ESPN wrote an article, what the hell did you trade Jay Buhner for? And found out that he was right. It was Ken Phelps.
Yeah, Ken Phelps.
And they looked at their careers and Frank Costanza was right about That was a terrible mistake trading Jay Buhner. So that's pretty funny and a nice tribute to Jerry Stiller.
That's the other one that we always say all the time. Like he goes, I think I got a way to get Ken Griffey and Barry Bonds, and we don't got to give up that much either.
Same outfield.
And same outfield. We don't got to give up that much.
Yeah.
And someone wrote an article about that.
Wow.
Being like, could they have done it at that time? And they're like, maybe.
Yeah.
Because Ken Griffey was huge. Barry was like not what he became.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Griffey was. And they had an outfield that like, could they have made that trade and not really given up that much? It would have been a very wacky trade, but they were trying to figure out how they could have done it. I mean, I don't think there's any way, but such a funny, just kind of quick line.
Yeah.
Two biggest athletes, maybe, two of the most famous in baseball. And he goes, I think I found it. Like George found a way.
He's the traveling secretary.
He's the traveling secretary. I found a way to get Ken Griffey and Barry Bonds, and we don't got to give up that much.
I stopped short. I mean, so many great ones.
Oh, dude, that one's a great one.
That's a great one.
He goes, this guy. That's one of my other favorite lines. He goes, which means this guy. He's not my type of guy. He tells Elaine that. I mean, it's so
good.
Yeah, it's so good.
She must have been some doll.
Because I had
she was.
She was.
Yeah.
Oh, is that one?
No, that's from Festivus.
Oh, Festivus, that line.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. She must have been some doll. It must have been some doll. She was. I mean, Festivus is. Whew.
Yeah, that's up there.
All right, George, wrestle your father. He tries to make him fight. He goes, come on, Dad.
Yeah.
He goes, fight your father, George. You can beat him. I mean, just.
How about when they're at the jailhouse and he's like, my son isn't quick enough to hitch a ski like this. What does he say? I'll drop you like a bag of dirt. You want it? You got it.
That was one of the first outtakes you ever saw. That was
right.
like,
oh, yeah. Classic.
The Steelers. I mean, I don't think they're underrated. I mean, even as a married couple, they were very good together.
Yeah.
And then Jerry Stiller too, like in everything he did. I mean, Ben Stiller. I'm a giant Ben Stiller.
I love
fan.
Ben Stiller,
and like I think he's someone that sometimes people kind of blow off, and you're like, dude, I'll watch anything that guy does.
Tropic
He's another
Thunder's
one.
amazing.
Ben, would love to meet you sometime. Giant fan of Tropic Thunder, but I'll watch his The Heartbreak Kid. Great with his dad. I saw him at a restaurant once. That's the closest I've got. Yeah. He walked into the restaurant and we were hanging out. And I was like, he's one that I was like, if I really like someone, that's the one. Those are the people that I can't.
Same.
Like I just stare at and I'm like, golly, I just want to talk to this dude.
Yeah.
Like I love everything he does. Like if you feel like they fit with you,
I
know,
that's tough.
All right. This was Norman. Thank you, buddy. We got you in. Sold out weekend at Norman's about to, if you can go check him out, Norman's, it's about to get real for you.
I don't know. Who knows? I'll screw it up
think
somehow.
So.
I appreciate it.
No, you almost did, but it's, I think you're, I mean, obviously everybody knows you're an amazing comic. I'm not saying I'm even above you. Like you're with us and that I'm older than you.
Yeah.
But it's like about to start theater. It's going to start coming.
Makes me nervous.
It's going to get crazy.
I like this level. I like the club selling out. But you think
it's nice, but I think it'll go as whatever you want to go do. Maybe you want to just do clubs.
Yeah.
So you do whatever you want to go do, but it's, I think you're going to do whatever you want, man. Selling these clubs is not easy.
No.
It's not easy to sell out clubs.
You got that
you have a giant audience that wants to watch you and that loves you, and you're a great, great comic. And so it's all coming together.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah. Look at this. All right.
Every day is my birthday.
Yeah. But I mean, once they see through it, other hand, Bates.
Hey, Batesy.
Bates, I'll be honest with you, I think you peaked 5 years ago.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So, all right. I don't know when this is going to come out. Go to marknorman.com, right? Your website.
marknormancomedy.com.
marknormancomedy.com.
Check out some YouTube stuff. I'm all over the place.
Special on YouTube.
Yeah.
Comedy Central put out, did great.
Thank you.
It was a giant special, and a lot of people saw it. And so, very funny. And everybody that knows you is very funny. A lot of late night stuff. You want some clean stuff from Mark Norman, just watch all his late night.
4 Tonight shows.
4 Tonight shows.
There you go.
So, and then you can check our stuff out as always.
As always.
All right. Aaron will be back. Thanks for doing this special episode.
Thank you.
I think it was a fun one. It was a fun one.
Great app.
All right. There you go. All the Seinfeld people. We did it.